Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you folks so much for joining us again on Crime and Sports. We've had a wild run lately. We went through our crack phase for a few weeks there recently, and last week we were into other shit, we'll just say.
Recovery?
We're into awful, the Laurie Wilmot last week. But we did invent a new game, a new form of cricket, which honestly sounds much more entertaining than anything else I've heard of. Today, though, I have to tell you guys, graphic alert today. Graphic shit alert. This is outside of our awful child molesters, Eddie Johnson with little girl and Buck Zumhoff and people like that. This is about the most graphic thing we've covered. This is worse than Craig Titus and that whole thing with the stun gun and the body in the trunk and all that in Vegas. It's worse than that. So
worse than Gator Rogowski?
A little bit. Yeah,
really?
It's worse. Yeah, it's worse than Gator Rogowski. It's bad stuff. So it's a wild episode. Not a ton of sports today.
No?
Mainly just a weird meth conglomerate that turns into this. It's a mess, dude. It's so messed up. It's bad stuff here. Middle of the country. Man, this is weird shit. Let's just get right into it because I don't even know how to explain this to you because it's without giving the whole thing away. But we'll get into it in a second. It's an MMA fighter. So brain damage sports are on the table, everybody. We got that. That's a good thing. Before we do that, little house cleaning. Thank you, first of all, everyone, for your reviews this week, iTunes or otherwise. The purple icon, iTunes, Apple Podcast. That is very important that you leave those reviews. Helps drive us up the charts. So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do that. Give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. Does it, Jimmy?
No.
Is it for our ego?
God, no.
No, it's not. It's just for business. It's for business purposes.
Right.
So say whatever you want. Say you're following instructions. They told me to do this. It doesn't matter. It does help us, in the business end of things.
Issues run a little deeper than words.
Yeah, exactly. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com right now for all of your crime and sports and small town murder needs. All sorts of merchandise, new merchandise. Pocket Robin t-shirts are up there for small town murder enthusiasts. And lots of tickets are up there. Tickets went on sale last week. I got a couple of them are sold out already. St. Louis, sorry, they're already sold out. Omaha already sold out. Pittsburgh,
if it's not sold out,
it's probably real close. Kansas City, it might be sold out by now. If not, there might be a few left. That's about it. So those are really, really short ones because they're small venues.
Right.
Otherwise, San Diego, get your tickets now. That's the Ohios, Columbus, and Cleveland.
Get in it.
Cincy was quick last time, so I would get those tickets now. I know it's a couple months away, but do that. Get those tickets. They're all over the country. You can find us somewhere. Damn it, that we're going. And if we're not coming, if you don't see your city on there, we're tacking more on to the end. That's just through the end of the year. We're going to kind of do like a continual touring thing. Rather than go out on a heavy tour for 3 months where we're out all the time.
Just be perpetually out.
We're going to kind of be perpetually out a couple times a month and do it that way. And that way it's more fun for us. I think it'd be more fun for you guys too. We don't have to like hide out for 6 months at a time and do that kind of shit. But that's all great. If you want to be a hero, I mean, the review was great. That'll make you a hero. But if you want to be somebody that we think about at night before we go to sleep in glowing terms, one of our producers, you can do that very easily by going over to patreon.com/crimeinsports or head over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. And you can make a donation there and you'll be one of our producers who we talk about at the end of the show. And good God, do we love them.
They're the best people.
We think about them at night as we eat food. Like, these people helped us eat food. Thank you.
You're a much better person than I am. I was thinking you were going like right before you go to bed.
No. I wasn't. Yeah, I'm not. Come on, Jim. I'm not whacking it to him. So I have more respect for these people than that.
There's a man named Richard Palmer, and
that's pretty good.
It made me a little horny.
That's not bad. Well, let's get into this episode because it's a lot, man. It's a lot to unpack, and boy, is it messy. It's a guy named David Alan Tyner. Oh. Probably never heard of this guy. He's a very low-level MMA guy. That's why not a lot of sports this week, but a whole shitload of crime. Yeah. It's it's sports and sports. It's crime and a little bit of sports, lowercase sports for this week. David Tyner is his name.
David Alan Tyner.
David Alan Tyner just goes by David Tyner, or goes by Bird more likely, and through his whole life that's his nickname that everybody calls him. We'll get into all that. He gets more nicknames later too as he gets into further into his crime. He gets nicknames. He gets them tattooed across his chest, which is always a smart move. If you're in a meth selling gang, it's a smart move to tattoo the name that you carry in this gang across your chest. You want to do that all the time. Just let everybody know what's going on.
Especially the police.
That's of course, especially the police. You want them to know exactly what you're doing. That's the point.
Who you are.
You don't want to hide activities. Out. Not under the radar at all. Don't do any of that. Don't do any Meyer Lansky shit.
Right.
Or Carlo Gambino shit where they die peacefully in their own home at 85 after making millions off organized crime. You want to put a big tattoo on your chest and end up in prison. That's the smart thing to do.
Carlo might be the coolest of all of them. That guy was a badass.
Him and Meyer Lansky too. Yeah. Those guys just died with so much money, and Meyer Lansky did it without even having to he didn't have to get into the dirt. He was the finance guy.
Was he the guy that got shot in Vegas?
Fuck no, Meyer Lansky.
Oh, that's Bugsy Siegel.
You're thinking of Bugsy Siegel. Yeah, no, Meyer Lansky. It's a bad death. No, Meyer Lansky and Carlo Gambino both lived to be very rich old men who fucking died peacefully on their own accord. So,
well, Gambino died in like a parking garage, but his heart just exploded.
No, Carlo Gambino died, I think, while he's watching a baseball game or something. That was either him or Meyer Lansky.
I think that may have been Lansky, because I think Carlo was walking to his car. And his heart just exploded. Maybe. But the man drank like 12 cups of coffee a day.
Either way, though, he was an 80-year-old gangster. I mean, to make it that far.
It's pretty impressive.
That's great.
It's goddamn impressive.
Shit, to not get shot. That's amazing. I'm impressed by that.
Especially the people that he killed.
Yeah, I think about those old gangsters sometimes, and then they died when they were like 85, and I'm like, that's amazing.
It's a great life.
They fucking made it. They made it. Yeah. I think about those people in terms of like the people who, you ever see like a 90-year-old that chain smokes? And you're like, you lucky son of a bitch, you fucking made it. You ignored what everybody said, and you're fucking still going. You outlived most of them, and you're still going. I'm like, you bastard.
You outlived a bunch of doctors that told you not to do that.
You bastard. I see those people, and I'm like, you fucking son of a bitch, you did it. That's the same thing as dying as like a comfortable gangster of natural causes.
A 90-year-old smoker that outlives a 55-year-old vegan doctor.
Oh, they do.
Whose heart just exploded.
Who was jogging in the morning, and his heart exploded. And then you get Burgess Meredith from Grumpy Old Men. He's like, I have a plate of bacon for breakfast. For lunch, I have a bacon sandwich, and I usually drink my dinner while he chain smokes.
The outtakes of that movie are my favorite, with him just finding new ways to hide a dick in a woman.
Dirty old men are fantastic. Anytime you get old men that are to have filthy mouths and tell dirty jokes and shit, I am all over that. I grew up, that's my culture. That's the Italian culture, is dirty old men telling jokes to their nephews. Hey, kid, let me tell you something when you're 9. You're like,
don't tell your mother.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to remember it and tell everyone at school, and I'm going to educate some motherfuckers. Did you get sex education in school? No, at a family gathering from my Uncle Tony. That's where you get it from. So, this fella here, David Tyner, everyone called him Bird, apparently. That was always his name, always his nickname. They said, people don't even know his real name, where he's from.
Really?
Like, that's the thing. He's from Oklahoma. He's born and raised in Oklahoma. We'll kind of talk about where here in a second. But he apparently, like, people around there, like a reporter later on goes back and asks about him, and they're like, David Tyner. And they go, Bird? And you're like, oh, yeah, Bird. Yeah, I know Bird. Like, they don't even know the fucking guy's name.
That's incredible.
That's amazing. It's weird when people's nicknames get so entrenched with them.
And it's one word. He's
Bird.
He's like the Cher of Oklahoma.
He's Bird, like in The Wire. Yeah. Bird.
Is there a guy on that show?
There's a fucking guy named Bird. He's a dick, and Omar puts him in jail. That's what Omar testifies with the tie thing.
Oh, I've seen a bunch of fucking memes of that.
And he's got the tie just kind of wrapped around him in court, and they say, "What do you do for a living?" And he says, "I robs drug dealers." I robs drug dealers, as clear as day. And they're like, "Okay," and he's just like, he just, he's lying and gets Bird put away for murder. Just says he saw the murder because he doesn't like Bird. He's like, "Fuck Bird, I don't care. I'll testify against him." So
that's great.
This is a different guy though. Omar don't give a fuck, man.
So he's a murderer and he robs drug dealers. Yeah. And
he'll admit it in court.
And he goes to court and tells everybody.
He went to the police and was like, "I saw him shoot him." They're like, "Did you?" He's like, "Fuck yeah, I did. Yeah." "Really?" "Yep." "Okay, you willing to testify?" "Shit, yeah."
Hell yeah.
"Put me up on the stand." "All right then." Why? Because he didn't like fucking Bird. Bird's a scumbag.
Tie that doesn't match.
Yeah. They told him to get a tie and whatever, and he went to some store and didn't like the wares, so he just wore his shit and put a tie on around it because they told him he had to wear a tie.
Hilarious.
So that was his way. But it made him more believable, honestly.
Yeah.
That's him. He's up on the stand, tie wrapped around him saying, "I robs drug dealers." That motherfucker's telling the truth.
I believe him.
He's like the dude in the Ray Carruth trial, episode 1 that we did. Van Brett Watkins, that guy. Jesus, remembered his name. But he was up on the stand just like, "Yeah, I motherfucking shot that pregnant ass bitch because he told me to. That motherfucker told me to shoot. That's why I shot that bitch."
Did you say?
I kind of believe him. It was like Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
It was. He was acting like he was not Tracy Morgan, but Tracy Jordan on 30 Rock. If you put him on the stand for murder, and he was just like, "Yeah, I shot that bitch. I don't give a fuck." It was amazing.
Did you say, quote, "and that bitch needs to go away"? I did. And you said that about Sharika? No. I said that about Ray Carruth.
Yeah, I said that about, he's the bitch.
Ray Carruth is the bitch. And he's pointing right in his face.
It was amazing. That was a great trial to watch. That was really a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
He drug out the Carruth.
The funny thing is, I watched that trial, and you watched the Staircase documentary. In that trial, it's the same defense attorney, David Rudolph, who does both cases. And in both cases, he clearly presents the better case and loses because he is a Jewish guy from New York who's in North Carolina. And that's obviously all it is. Seriously, they're like, "It doesn't matter what you say to us, fella Jew man. We ain't gonna listen." She has a Southern accent, the prosecutor, and I feel like she's more in tune with our interests. Carry on, though. We'll be polite enough to let you finish and then just vote against you.
Give us some more of those 11-letter words, sir.
I mean, especially the Staircase. It was like, he almost was like, "What the fuck is Mayberry? What am I doing here?" Like, you could see it in his face. Like, are they talking about that he had a bisexual affair? That means he's a murderer now? Like, what the fuck is happening? You could see his head almost catch fire. It's as I'm watching both these things, I'm just going, please move away to somewhere where your services will be appreciated. Jesus Christ.
Find a big city on the other side of the Delta.
I swear, if I ever get in any trouble in the South, I am getting fucking Matlock to defend me. I'm getting Andy Griffith in a fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel suit. That's the only thing that will suffice. The only thing that will. It's like Arrested Development. They got Andy Griffith to sit at the table.
That's awesome.
So anyway, Bird. Everybody knew Bird. His friends say his mother gave him the nickname because he didn't eat a lot when he was little, very little.
He ate like a
bird. He ate like a bird, so they called him Bird from the time before he could remember, toddler age.
That's a weak-ass nickname.
It's a weak nickname. Yeah. And other people said that he liked to climb trees, and I don't know what that is. I think all kids like to climb trees. They don't climb trees. That's the other thing. And once they're up there, they get down easier. Yeah, they don't have to really. They don't have to bring in the fire department.
That whole gravity thing doesn't fuck with them.
Not really.
No,
unless they're coming into my garage like we just experienced.
That was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, Jimmy comes over. I open my garage. He comes in, and a fucking bird flies in right before him, and we can't get him out. He's just walking away from us. I'm like, no, this way, asshole. And he nope, I'm going over here.
Hiding amongst the Christmas tree.
Get
the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he was like, my son has a little tiny Christmas tree there, and it's like sitting down. And he went and sat behind it. Well, it's a tree. That's a bird.
There you go.
I didn't even think of that. He was
trying to climb the tree.
That's what it is. Okay, I feel it. So
it was a baby bird too.
He was small, but he's fine now. So he could fly. He flew into the garage and then just walked around like a dickhead. So
why do birds ever walk? I've never understood that. You can
fly everywhere.
Motherfucker. What are you doing?
I fly everywhere. When you see them walking too, they're strutting their shit back and forth. I don't know what they're thinking.
Tail feathers and everything.
I guess once in a while we crawl.
I suppose.
I guess only when we're
that's
shit
really
faced or
rubbing
something.
It in though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I don't know why you're you'd ever walk around. Maybe it's exhausting to fly. We don't know that. It could be fucking exhausting, and they're like, I need a break, man. These wings are hurting me. You gotta take a few struts back and forth.
Boy, are my arms tired. Is that what it is?
That's the old joke. So, either way, this is Bird Tyner. Everybody knows him as. He grows up to be a high school wrestler, and he's a goddamn good wrestler. And everybody likes him. He's like a real, he's a real happy-go-lucky, outgoing, full of personality kind of cat. Everybody likes him. In high school, he's pretty popular. He's like a star wrestler. And, he comes up pretty normal. I mean, there's no, and it's weird because wrestling isn't one of those, if you're a great high school wrestler, it's not like if you're a great high school football player.
Right.
If you're a great high school football player, everybody sucks your dick from the time you're 9. Yeah. And that's it. Baseball, basketball, in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So, I mean, which high school wrestling's huge there. 80s, born in 81. Okay. So this is in the 90s. He's in high school.
All right. Same as mine. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I
can smell the polo sport already.
Exactly. Yeah. You smell that. You can smell a Drakkar all over everybody. It's no good. It's dripping. It's fucking tripping. Yeah. So, but it's not the same. We talk about a lot of these guys come up and they can do no wrong because even if they do wrong, everybody just ignores them because they're 6'10" and 16 years old or something. Whereas high school wrestlers that's not a money sport.
No.
So they don't quite get that. You get scholarships and shit like that, but it's not like schools make money watching wrestling. I know they do in Iowa and a couple of places, but it's not their main money sport. 100,000 people don't show up to watch two teenagers in their underwear grapple on the ground.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fucking happen.
It's very much viewed like the ROTC program.
It's it's very much like that. So if you're a star wrestler, it's just a different thing. You're not you don't feel like you're above the law, I don't think, or anything like that. You still have to kind of go within the, down the lane here. So everybody knew him, though, because of this. He had, high school wrestling in Oklahoma is a lot bigger than it is.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
In other places. Yeah. The Midwest, wrestling's a big deal. Like I said, in Iowa, it's a fucking huge deal.
Really?
Oh, God. Amateur wrestling's a big deal there. Yeah.
Jesus.
The Midwest, they like shit that nobody else, they like high school wrestling and college hockey. Nowhere else on earth do people watch a high school wrestling or college hockey except in the Midwest.
It's everything nobody else likes.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't understand. I think the cold just leaves you open for suggestion.
Anything that's indoors, let's do it.
It's pretty cold. I'll sit and watch two kids fucking grapple. That sounds great. Shit, maybe one of them will break their neck. That could be something, We get the ambulance in here.
I bet that's where that one-legged kid that's really fucking good. I'll bet that's where he's from. Have you seen that video? There's a dude that's super popular that's a high school kid that's got one leg.
I thought you meant the college guy from ASU. That was just.
Is that where he's from?
No,
is that where he's at?
That was a few years ago. It was like 10 years ago. The guy wasn't he in the Olympics?
I wouldn't have a fucking clue, man.
He went to ASU. He has one leg. I met the guy. He interned at my ex-wife's company. Was
he from the Midwest?
No, I don't think so. He was a black dude. He was.
No, I saw a white kid.
Okay, this was a black dude. He was fucking amazing, though. You see videos. This dude will fuck you up with one leg. He just comes after you. It's scary.
Missing an appendage and
they come at you at a whole other angle too from the ground. You're like, what the hell's going on here? It's be like being attacked by a giant snapping turtle.
But isn't that like an advantage because you got one less leg thing for me to grapple, one less thing for me to pin?
Not only that too, then your weight is redistributed too.
Yeah.
So that's you lose
center of gravity's weird.
So you can be stronger in the core because you don't have the weight of that leg.
Right.
The weight is on you when you weigh the same as the other person, but he's got a leg that he has to distribute it to. I don't know, man. I don't know the physics of it exactly, but
it still seems like a major advantage.
It does. It does. I would think so.
So if you're a wrestler, start lopping them off.
Yeah. If you have no legs, you're going to be fucking incredible. Fuck. You're just going to be a solid torso. Of course, somebody could just pick you up and throw you. That's an issue there. You don't really have a lot of.
Do you get points for that?
I think you do.
It's got to be.
It's got to be. And if you toss them into the spectators, that should be extra. I think that's pretty impressive.
Just by grabbing the arms and spinning.
Spin him like he's a shot put, not a shot put, a discus. Yeah. Just shoot him like that.
Or a toddler.
Or a little person in a less PC time. Either way. So anyway, David here, Bird is he's half Cherokee. So that's going to come into play a lot, his heritage here too. He's half Cherokee. He goes to Locust Grove High. He is a 2-time state wrestling champion.
Hell yeah.
In his weight class in high school, which is fucking impressive. That's pretty goddamn good. He's a 2-time freestyle All-American here in the freestyle wrestling. He's from Salina, Oklahoma. He is a runner-up in the Nationals. there too. So he's fucking good. He's a good fucking wrestler, which is weird because when he gets into MMA, he doesn't really wrestle much. He's mostly a puncher.
Okay.
Which he's like a brawler, which is weird.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Well, I don't. Maybe
I'm not sure.
Maybe
he's not.
Maybe that Greco wrestling is different than you know what I mean.
Freestyle.
Isn't that what it's called? Greco.
Greco-Roman. There's freestyle. There's different. I know different disciplines in the Olympics. I know they have different ones, but it's weird though. This guy, everything he does is like against what he should do. You're like, oh, he's just going to do this. Oh, he's going to do the opposite of that. Okay, never mind. My bad. So he's like I said, 2-time All-American, state champion, runner-up in the Nationals. Big deal here. He is offered a wrestling scholarship at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
That's great.
Fucking terrific, right? Free college for wrestling. Awesome. So he goes there, and in the spring of 2000, he is kicked out of school for poor academic performance.
Oh, so he's a dummy.
Academics are not his fucking thing. He's not good at it. It's just not what he's into.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir, babe.
He's not into the academics. Now, I would think, though, in a situation like this where you're getting a free college scholarship and all this stuff, you're going to try to apply yourself. You're going to, like, ask some fucking, ask some nerdy kid, and you'd be like, hey, you're going to come over to my dorm or I'm going to put you in a fucking pretzel.
Now you're talking.
I'm going to turn you into a human pretzel if you don't come over and tell me what this means, because I need to pass shit. Like, that would be my attitude anyway, and I sucked at school. Yeah. So, I don't know. So he's pulled there. He ends up also going to spending a fall semester in the fall of 2000 at Bacone College in Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So he's there
after he got kicked
after he gets booted out of Tennessee, Chattanooga, I guess, another college. And if it's a small college, not a big chance to throw a scholarship at a guy who's a great wrestler, and who cares?
Maybe your wrestling team's about to excel.
Yeah, maybe that, or maybe not. So, or maybe he's just gonna fucking flunk out, and then what do you lose? Who cares? So he's close to home anyway. You can send him on a Greyhound. It won't cost you a flight to get him the fuck out of there. So here, though, he does not last a whole semester, as the coach kicks him off the team because he's just not, he doesn't practice as hard as the other guys. He's just not into it, into the academics or into the actual traiing of wrestling.
So he just doesn't get it.
He's just a slacker.
He doesn't understand that this is fucking real life now.
Yeah, it's a work ethic thing, and everybody else said too, everybody else was in training all the time. He was drinking and partying and smoking weed and fucking off and not training and not doing cardio and not doing his wrestling training. Okay. If you've ever seen like a high school wrestling practice, it's insanity.
It really is.
It's basically what you would imagine the CIA is doing to suspected ISIS members in black sites in Tajikistan. It's basically what you think is going on right now, what they're doing. They pump it up to 105 fucking degrees, and everybody puts their sweat clothes on, and they run around till they're ready to die, and then they wrestle more. Yeah. It's fucking insane. Yeah. It's crazy because everybody's trying to make weight and shit. So this guy here, though, he just didn't have it in college. Once he got into like kind of boozing and fucking off, he really goes down that path. Mm-hmm. As we'll find with him, he'll pick a path and he'll really just dive in head first, whether it's a good idea or not. It's not really the
it's just his choice.
It's just his choice, and he does it, which if you have good ideas, great. Right. Like you see the Defiant Ones documentary, and Dr. Dre talks about, he wanted to leave death row, and he said he didn't care what it cost him. He didn't care if he lost masters. He didn't give a shit. He just, once he made the decision, that was it, and he was gone. Yeah. Good thing for Dr. Dre, obviously. Mm-hmm. Not great if all of your decisions lead to giant tattoos with your gang name across them. So
that is a bad idea.
It's the different outcomes, really, is what it is there. So his high school coach, Johnny Cook, said he didn't understand this, him getting kicked out of school and fucking off, because he said in high school, he was a leader. He was a standout. He was like, he was the guy yelling at other kids who weren't there on time to work out and shit like that. Where the fuck were you for practice? Like, you're 5 minutes late, dude. We got work in and you missed it. Like, so it made no sense to him that he would all of a sudden become a slacker. The cook, his ex-coach, said, quote, he'd practice 2 or 3 times a day, was as solid a kid as you'll ever find. So, I mean, that's a glowing...
Well, what the fuck happened?
From a wrestling coach, that's pretty glowing, because those guys are dicks mainly, for the most part. They said this coach talked about how he would stick up for all the bullied kids. Like, he didn't fucking, if anybody was getting bullied, he would fucking stand up for him and go fucking, fuck up the dude who was doing the bullying, which was nice. They said maybe like the worst he'd get into in high school was, him and a couple other guys from the wrestling team fucking drinking a few beers and cruising around the back roads in one of their pickup trucks or something.
Very Oklahoma.
Very Oklahoma. Not really bothering anybody, just being douches.
Being kids,
exactly. They said that he was not in a lot of fights as far as that goes, because people were, they knew not to fuck with him. He was a tough dude.
He's a state champ.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, that's the thing. He's a solid dude too in the middle. Like he's a solid guy. He's only like 5'11", but he's 200 pounds of solidness. Yeah. One of those guys who's just built like a brick. Yeah. And he was really good. His family moved from Salina to be in the Locust Grove High School district because they thought he'd have the best chance of getting into a high school Division I wrestling program.
Okay.
So that's how good he was. Yeah. That his family moved because he had that much potential. Right. So that's a lot there. He thought maybe he'd be a wrestling coach later on. He was thinking about after his wrestling. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Doesn't seem like the most lucrative.
No.
But I mean, maybe, you can do that for a while. You can coach the Olympics or something.
I mean, if all you're looking to afford is beer, then yeah. All right.
That's true. So, but he has shitty grades and none of that happens. He leaves his second college there and just basically wanders. Yeah. He takes menial jobs. Sometimes he has no place to live. He sleeps in his truck sometimes.
Oh, Jesus.
We're talking, this is, he's 19, 20 years old here. Yeah. Just not doing great. He didn't know what to do with himself. He was adrift. Basically, since since middle school, all he cared about was wrestling, and now that's over. And that happens to a lot of athletes. When sports are over, they don't know what to do with themselves. Right. It's all they've ever done and all they've ever thrown themselves into, and now they're like, okay.
Well, that's done.
Oh, what do I do now? Most people face that when they're, 68 or something, when they retire. They're like, wow,
job.
Okay then. Now what do I fucking do sitting here all day?
Now I just sit here on my ass?
Yeah, but I get, at least when you're 68, maybe you're a little more tired and you're a little more amenable to sitting on your ass. But when you're 19, you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself. That's bad energy. Yeah. 19-year-olds need something to do with themselves, or else they will find some shit to do with themselves.
And that's never good.
And it's usually for the worst here. Him, though, he didn't know what to do. He thought to himself, and he told a bunch of his friends that he was thinking about going into the Marines and becoming a chaplain. I don't know where the fuck that came from. Yeah, that's a new one.
I'm gonna go into the Marines, and I'm gonna be a preacher.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I know nothing about religion right now, but I'm thinking about just being a chaplain and in the Marines too. Yeah. I think that's the best place for a chaplain.
I'll be real busy. I think.
Yeah, I think I'll be busy. Those guys, they're gonna probably need to talk to me. So he ends up going March of 2002. He enlists in the Marines.
My Christ!
So there he is. He's in the Marines now. He goes to motor transport school in Missouri. Before he's moved to 29 Palms up there.
Is that in California?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, Pendleton.
Yeah. So he was he had a kid at this point, by the way. He had his high school girlfriend and him had a kid. And that he just kind of leaves them. Doesn't really
see you around.
Have a good one.
He's got a kid, and he's joining the Marines and leaving the state.
Yeah, not even like keeping in touch or being like a family person. He's just like, I picture him like his legs dangling off the back of the truck, just waving, bye. And that's it. He's gone now. See you later.
The fold down tailgate, the one that goes all the way down.
It goes down. His feet dangling.
Yeah.
And just bye.
Clanging off of it.
Yeah, that's all. The way other guys looking at him like, say, you're not going back, are you? You're not going back.
It's over, huh?
Yeah. So they had, like I said, a kid, but he ended up hooking up with another girl in Tennessee when he was at school.
In
Chattanooga, and he ends up marrying this girl after he leaves the wife and kid and goes into the Marines. He marries the Tennessee girl.
Good Lord.
So he's already all twisted up in relationship. In the last 3 years, he's really fucked his life up good. He's really twisted it into a fucking knot.
He's almost got it pinned down.
It's almost, you could.
It's about to submit.
And they just kicked out on 3. It's foot on the ropes on this one. So they get married, and they live in an off-base housing at one point for a while. Apparently, while they were in off-base housing, and one time when they were on base, military police had to respond to a domestic disturbance between the two of them. And apparently David here just kind of laughed about it and was like, it's all fine and dandy. And they just were like, okay. And that was the end of it. He just told them that everything was fine,
and they just
laughed it off.
We'll see you around then.
Yeah. They were like, "Is he trying to kill you?" And she's like, "No." And they're like, "All right, take it easy, have a good one." And that was that. So,
military police.
That's not great.
Yeah.
Another time, this is interesting. He was in California here, and he was drunk and high and all fucked up, and I guess he got caught by the MPs and they military police, and he ran away, and so they were chasing him, and he has good cardio, from wrestling and shit. He could probably run a long time. And he ran into the Mojave Desert, drunk and high.
And just went.
And they just kept running, and they ran for a while, and they were like, are we just going to chase this fucking guy into the desert forever? He'll either come back or die. So, I mean, one or the other, I guess. Fuck it. And they just shrugged and went back. And eventually he came back, and he lost his driving privileges for that, apparently.
Okay.
Lost no driving. I don't know if no driving.
Hell of a punishment.
Military vehicles, or I don't know what.
Isn't that AWOL? I don't know if that. What is
I
that?
guess so. I don't know. They can see him. There he is.
Close,
There's that fucking idiot.
I don't know. I feel like the women MPs in stripes were a little more strict than this.
That were having sex with him at their boss's house and giving them food and wine and shit.
They were still more strict than this.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is. Yeah, that's probably right. I don't know what it is, dude. I feel like they're like.
That was Sean Young, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What the hell? She went nuts.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
She was
back in her sane days.
She really had a role going, and what happened, Sean?
Well,
Come back.
In the 80s, she was doing great. She's fucking nuts now.
Yeah.
Have you heard her talking the last 15 years?
She's a lunatic.
She's literally
off the reservation.
Rocker. Yeah, she needs fucking help. Are you saying that because this guy's half Cherokee, Jimmy?
I
Jesus,
did not,
I'm only kidding. So,
I almost took credit for that.
Yeah, no, Sean Young. Yeah,
she was so pretty and
I don't know what happened.
Such a great actress.
Well,
Ace Ventura, she was amazing.
That's true.
And then right after, you force a woman to maybe they should have given that to a trans actress because it ruined her trying to pretend to be trans.
Why you want to? That's true. Yeah,
I mean?
People were like, "Does she have a dick?" Afterwards, which was really not fair to her at all.
Everybody calling her Finkel.
Maybe
forever.
that's why she went crazy.
I'd lose my shit too.
That's everybody coming up trying to lift up the back of her skirt to see what's back there.
She's got those hemorrhoids kicking.
Yeah, whatever. Jesus Christ, man. This is one of those. I feel like if you throw yourself on the mercy of the military court and just say, I was super drunk.
Right.
Military gets that. Right. Like, drunk, they understand. If you're like, I drank so many fucking beers, they're like, he's just blowing off some steam. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's got to be considered, as long as you didn't kill anybody, like, that's normal in the military to get super drunk and act like an idiot and run into the desert.
Better of a defense than crime of passion.
Yeah. It's a bunch of young kids. Right. So it's like a bunch of young guys are going to get drunk a lot if they can.
The problem is he's 19 and he can't drink. Oh, wait, he's 21 at this point. This
he's 21. Yeah. So he had college and had a kid and everything else in between all that shit. So he ends up being deployed to Iraq in February 2004.
We've got this guy going to Iraq.
This guy's going to Iraq. Yeah, he's a little... It's interesting here. It's he's in Marine Wing Support Squadron 374, and he's deployed. They would go to Kuwait and then into Iraq from there. It's Jesus Christ. They said, now this is important. They said ground support in this sector never saw any live fire aside from mortars. They just filled sandbags for the first few weeks, but it was hot and shitty. But it wasn't. They weren't in an active combat zone. Basically, they weren't. It wasn't a dangerous place. It was just, shitty.
Right.
It's just Iraq. It's just Phoenix in August. That's all it was.
Filling sandbags in Iraq is like peeling potatoes, though.
Yeah, it's miserable.
You just look all around and you're like, there's so much to do.
It's hot and fucking shitty and miserable. And he said the food sucked and there's sand and everything, and it's just a mess. It's not great. They gave him, Jesus Christ, this idiot had to get rabies shots because he fucking apparently ran up on some coyote who was near some of the military shit.
Why would he do that?
He ran up to it to try to scare it away, and it bit him because it's a wild animal. You can't be like, get the fuck out of here. They just bite you.
Scare it?
Yeah, they just bit him. We didn't even do that with the bird. Yeah, we were more cautious with a baby bird than this guy was with a fucking desert coyote. In a Middle Eastern desert coyote.
I got a 4-foot tube of wrapping paper trying to keep
poke
my distance
just kind of nudge it in the ass. Go ahead. This guy's running
up. Have you seen a coyote up close? Those things are fucking
they're nasty
They're
looking.
the ugliest
they're nasty
animals.
Looking. And especially a Middle Eastern desert coyote. That thing's got to be like fortified with oil and shit,
It's got coyote dreadlocks.
Oh, it's just nasty, hot. That thing could survive that. I don't want to mess with it.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Iraqi Arachacabra. So, so he gets rabies shots there. So there was that. Apparently they called him Stan in Iraq, which to them, they said it was basically, it stood for shit, is what they were calling him. Was shit.
Really?
They were calling him shit because they said he was full of shit.
So they just called him Stan.
Stan, which to them was just a euphemism for shit.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what his friend here told him. They said he would not be outdone. If someone said something, he's going to one-up them. He was a pain in the ass, they said, basically. The one guy here, a guy named Travis Fugate, who was in the Marines with him, said, quote, if someone said they had 4 aces, Tyner would say he had 17. So
that's not one-upping.
That makes sense. Like, that's the level he goes, an unbelievable, ridiculous level. Not 5, 17. He said if someone had fought 2 guys, he'd say he fought off 4. Someone he said he caught fish with his bare hands, said he was a gigolo. He'd lie about the stupidest shit. So that's what it was. He was just Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about an excellent product, Mack Weldon.
Oh, MackWeldon.com.
Oh, M-A-C-K,
yes.
Weldon.com. With smart design, premium fabrics, and simple shopping, Mack Weldon will be the most comfortable underwear, socks, shirt, undershirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and more that you will ever wear.
It's true.
We can vouch for this because we've had Mack Weldon for a while now. We've been ordering Mack Weldon stuff, and this is like one of my favorite sponsors because we get to try the stuff they have.
Heck yeah.
So whenever we get Mack Weldon, we get like free Mack Weldon gear,
Absolutely.
which is amazing. This is stuff I'll happily pay for. That's the thing. Happily.
Absolutely.
Getting it for free is amazing because it's unbelievable stuff. So comfortable. You get online. First of all, the website's super easy to navigate.
It is.
Everything is easy. It's all broken down into the right categories. You don't have to search. They don't put, shorts in the wrong category of this. Like some of these sites do that.
Yeah.
It's so easy. The prices are not bad at all. Really solid prices for what you're getting because the quality of this stuff is amazing.
Best socks I own.
Best socks,
underwear I know.
Best hoodie I've ever had in my life. And I'm a hoodie guy. I'm from New York. I've worn a lot of hoodies in my day. Best hoodie I've ever had in my life is from Mack Weldon. My undershirts. Oh, my Mack Weldon undershirts. I will not record in anything but a Mack Weldon undershirt because it's comfortable and I feel at my best and ready to deliver jokes and horrible facts and everything like that. They're phenomenal. The underwear that take the sweat off of your sack. It's terrific. I'll tell you that right now. It's awesome. Not only do Mack Weldon's underwear, socks, and shirts look good, they perform well too. Perfect for working out, going to work, or just everyday life. They even have this line of silver underwear and shirts that are antimicrobial. That's the one we're talking about. Naturally eliminate odor. It's phenomenal. And if you don't like your first pair, you can keep it and they'll still refund you. No questions asked.
What a deal.
That's how great Mack Weldon is. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter promo code CRIMEINSPORTS at checkout. That's MackWeldon.com. Enter promo code CRIMEINSPORTS at checkout for 20% off your first order.
And now back to the show. Was that another Fugate, by the way?
That's another Fugate. I was going to bring that up.
Those keep coming up in these stories.
In the last month and a half, we've had so many Fugates. It's
like the seventh one.
And Teresa Fugate came up murdered twice. The same fucking poor woman.
Bananas.
Different name or different place and person, but the same name.
Unbelievable.
So, they said he would just, and at first, it's one of those things where at first they just, when you hear a few lies from someone at first, you're like, hey, this guy might just be like a badass or whatever. And then like after a while, you're like, okay, he's
nobody's this interesting.
He's full of shit, right? He shits on a gold toilet, this guy, right? Because I feel like You'd have to be this fucking full of shit, right? He's the kid he was the kid who was like, I have Super Mario 9 for regular Nintendo in 1992 when it didn't exist.
The fourth one just came out.
Yeah, and you're like, didn't 3? 3's pretty new. It's like, I have 9. I got it. And my dad knows this guy who works in Nintendo. You know that kid?
My dad knows Mr. Nintendo.
Yeah, he knows him, and he just sends him copies of stuff so we could test it out, and so I get all the new games.
So I have the shit that's coming out in 2042.
Yeah, I have stuff named after boxers that haven't even fought yet. You don't even know them. They're in kindergarten right now, but that's how new it is. Pretty good. It's tough to make the basketball games. We have to predict the rosters in 10 years. That's a tough one, but you know what? It's cool. It's still a great game. So they said also he'd sit around and tell people that he was a hitman for the New York and the Chicago mobs.
Oh, Jesus.
Both, not just one.
Yeah, the competing ones.
One mob can't hold him.
They all like me.
Well, that's the thing. It's when you're in demand.
Right.
They're going to try to get you, and they're going to try to get you.
When you go to what you do, everybody hears about it.
From New York to Chicago. That's
syndicate.
The thing. And when you got, and if you're going to do anything, you want to set these syndicates up against each other to fight over you, because that always works out well. So he tells one guy that in one job that he had as a mob hit, he got $50,000 out of it. That's what he was paid for a mob hit. Okay. So that's the kind of money he's making, just to let everyone know he's a high roller.
Each time I go out.
Yeah,
if I leave the door, it's $50,000.
It's $50,000 for my services. I mean, whether it's New York, Chicago, might go up to 60. Maybe next time I got a job with Chicago, New York wants me, they up it to 75. So my rate gets so high. Started out making $50.
Sweet fuck.
Just competing with me. He said that this particular hit, the guy who wanted the hit done, they wanted this guy to drop dead in front of his wife. For some reason, is what he said. They wanted this guy killed in front of his wife. So David Tyner here tells everybody that he set himself up on the roof of a roof in Milwaukee on top of a building and waited for them to get out on a patio where they were eating, and then he shot him dead at 300 yards with no scope.
Yeah,
no scope. And Fugate said, "quote no scope," while he was laughing. He could be pretty convincing, but he'd go too far. No scope. 300 yards, no scope. Just a fucking freehand.
Right.
He really probably just pulled it out like Wyatt Earp and just fucking 300 yards right through the forehead. Someone put an ace of spades on his head and see if he could put it through the fucking...
Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me?
He's the kind of guy that somebody would be like, I once did 150 in a car, and he's like, yeah, I did 300.
I did 300.
No wheels.
No wheels. I had blown out all my tires. Well, what happened was the cops were chasing me, and I ran over the spike strips. I'm like, shit, they mean business. I better floor it. Took it up to 300. It was tough. I'm not going to lie to you. Sparks were flying, but, once you get in the grooves... wheels start making a groove in the concrete, you can really cruise, and it's not too shabby.
Goes like a train.
Goes like a fucking train. So he's just full of shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he said 50 yards and a scope,
but
who knows if he's lying?
But the thing is, like, why go this far? You've got such an interesting life already. People would be impressed with state champ.
That's the thing. That's all he has to say.
All-American.
Yeah, man. Just be yourself.
School scholarship.
Just be yourself.
I blew it.
But yeah.
That's a much better story than this bullshit.
He's in this group of guys, and he feels like he needs to be...
He's got to impress.
I feel like it's one of those things where in high school, and I could be wrong about this, but in high school and even up to where he got kicked out in college, he was considered like hot shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't...
respect to everybody.
He wasn't in the lower third of everybody. Yeah. He was kind of a leader and all this type of shit. And I feel like in the Marines, he just wasn't. He was just an average guy. And I feel like he was trying to make himself that thing that he wanted to be.
Stand out.
Yeah, he's got to stand out. He's used to that. But anyway, less than 2 months after he arrived in Iraq, Fugate here heard what he said was like a bunch of combat boots passing by him. So he thought there was some kind of fight or scuffle or something was going on. So he said when they sit around forever, guys tend to get in fights, and it's a bunch of dudes, a bunch of aggressive dudes that signed up literally in the one branch of the military that has no stated purpose except murder. It is sanctioned murder, but death is what they're after. They're not building villages, the Marines. They never say they do. They don't even have fucking doctors.
Yeah, also,
we'll put holes in them. Someone else come fix them up. We don't give a fuck. And they'll go, yeah, that's what we do. That's your job. That's their job. Yeah. I mean, that's their stated job.
Kill them all and let God sort them out. I think that's
what they're going for.
Their slogan.
Oh, that's what they're going for. Either that or that was a Metallica thing. I'm not sure. No, just kidding. But either way, that's what I'm saying. It's it's a bunch of dudes that are the guys that are,
sitting around one-upping each other like that all day. Eventually, there's going to be a fight.
It's generally not a bunch of pussies, and they're sitting around in a rack and, amped up for something that's not happening. Right. They get in fights, as young men do, of all stripes.
And in 2002, they are still pissed about those towers.
Yeah, this is 04. Okay. Still, they're over there, and it's just...
Osama's not found yet. They're still pissed.
No, they haven't even found Saddam Hussein yet, for Christ's sake.
They haven't even found a sandal track
No, they still haven't found that they're there for no reason. They still haven't even found that yet. The lack of any reason for being there the first fucking place didn't happen yet.
No.
Go, oh shit, we didn't open Al Capone's vault yet and find fucking
nothing.
Iraq was the biggest Al Capone's vault in the history of the world.
We're punching each other for nothing right now.
We're gonna find a big stash. We're gonna open up a door and it's gonna be like Stewie on Family Guy's weapons closet. And it's just gonna be fucking nukes. And we're like, that just didn't happen. We found nothing. So anyway, enough of that shit.
Two donkeys in a box of sparklers. That's Greg Giraldo's joke.
Yeah, it's true. That's what it is. So did he say Al Capone's vault?
I don't think so. Okay. But he did say we went looking for weapons of mass destruction. It turned out to be two donkeys in a box of sparklers.
Yeah. That too.
Yeah.
So he figures that he gets all. He wants to go see what's going on here. Yeah. And apparently it wasn't a fight. It was David inside a tent with his gun in his mouth. Threatening to shoot himself.
Oh, so everybody's rushing.
Everybody's rushing to see what's going on.
The booth?
They did not run there to save him.
No,
they were. Fugate said someone yelled, "Do it, pussy!"
And they zipped it closed.
So they're not real supportive in trying to help him.
It's just Stan.
Go
back to bed.
It's just Stan. He's gonna shoot. Fuck him, right? Yeah, fuck. Do it, pussy. Everybody said fuck him. So
do it. Pussy.
Do it, pussy. Fugate says, quote, Marines, it's a bunch of 18 to 24-year-old guys. We weren't the best support group. No. Probably not, I'm going to say, based on that.
I'm feeling today it's much the same.
Probably, yeah, I would assume so. And then we wonder why. Should we have women in the military? I think so.
Yeah.
Let's put some in there.
Soften these fuckers up.
It's not even soften. It's humanize them a little. Slightly. Not that women are less tough either, because these military chicks are tough as shit.
They are.
But they're also like, hey, what the fuck you doing? Don't shoot yourself, asshole. They might say that. Don't shoot yourself, pussy. But they'll tell you not to shoot yourself, pussy. Whereas the guys are like, fucking do it. I don't care. See some action.
Speaking of that, real quick, there's a guy that is in Iraq or some shit, and he flies Black Hawk helicopters. He's going to commission a flag for us and give us a certificate of authenticity and everything that it was flown on his fucking chopper.
That's
amazing.
We get a lot of feedback from overseas guys, and dude, thank you guys for listening to us over there. Honestly, that's fucking. If we can help, uplift that shit just a little bit and get a touch of something that's feels like home or whatever.
In your ear?
This feels like home to you, or feels like something, take your mind off of shit, then, dude,
or if it infuriates you and you want to shoot us and you take it out on somebody else, I'm good with that too.
Either way, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we're not talking shit about Marines here at all. No. This is all shit that if you sat down and talked to Marines, they'd be like, oh my God,
They'd tell us way worse.
There's people listening. There's people, that's what I mean. There's people going to be listening over there just nodding their heads going, So, apparently a commanding officer came over, and they have to be kind of a little more, they can't be like, if there's an inquiry afterwards and it said commanding officer said, quote, do it, pussy, I feel like that's not a good look. So the commanding officer talks David into taking the gun out of his mouth, and then they put him on suicide watch, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's take all the guns away from that one.
The guy that just aimed one at his own head.
Also, anything that blows up, we should probably take that away. Let's keep him away from people he might want to... Let's just put him away.
Give him bags and sand. Let's put him on that detail again.
Yeah. And then after this, he gets a letter from home from his wife saying that she cheated on him.
Oh, my word.
That's these two. Yeah. Then they separate from here. So he's over there on suicide watch getting a letter saying his wife cheated on him, which is that is awful.
How do you read that?
That's
how
awful.
do you write that?
Yeah.
That feeling would be horrible.
Nothing you can do from 10,000 miles away either. Like they're just sitting there. Yeah. Shit, I have all these guns and no way to use them on why I'm angry. This is
David,
terrible.
I'm writing you with a penis in my mouth.
Yeah, this is terrible. So at this point too, he was basically he got fat now too. He's just athletes who don't keep up with athletics tend to get fat. Yeah. And he did, and everybody said that he was they break his balls because he got fat too, so people were picking on him. He turned into the Pile of the group from Full Metal Jacket, basically.
That's what I was already picturing.
Yeah, he turns into the Pile, basically. Okay. But Pile didn't try to tell crazy stories and shit. He was just a weird, awkward dude. Right. But this is different. So basically this whole thing, he ended up being forced into remedial physical training, which he hated because he's supposed to be an athlete, like a top tier fucking all-American athlete, and he's got to do remedial physical training. Yeah. Like, him and the kid with bone spurs and the guy who got a bunch of deferments and the kid who was born with a fucked up spine. They're all next to him going,
low sperm count.
We're going to get through this, man. And he's like, fuck all of you. God damn it.
I'm an All-American. She cheated on me.
Damn it. Tennessee. So he ends up being sent back to California for a psych assessment and a subsequent discharge based on his batshitness.
He's all done.
That's the military term that they put on him. He was released for batshitness, which it happens. Yeah. So he does that. It's bad. They said too he was when you're on the way out, when you're being kicked out of the Marines, apparently, you're basically treated like complete shit on the way out.
I'm sure of that.
They said it was just, they treated him like shit, like he was nobody. And from then on, now he's washed out of everything. Washed out of wrestling, washed out of college.
That's a good point.
Now he's washed out of the Marines. Where the fuck do you go now?
I can't imagine.
You went to the military, which is where people go to get their shit together. Right. And they said, nope, you suck. No, your shit is too far out of whack. We can't even put it together. We're the most well-organized fucking machine there is, and we can't put your shit together. You're that fucked up. Sorry.
We have no place for you as a cog.
No place.
No.
So now he has no fucking idea where to go. Just crazy. So he leaves there, the 29 Palms place, and they're all like, all right, well, there's that crazy shit asshole. He's gone. And then he comes back pretty soon after that, drives in wearing a construction outfit. Apparently he got a job doing construction on the base.
Really?
So yeah, he got a job with a construction company, and they happened to be contracted to do work on the base.
Okay, so he's not their problem anymore, but he's
still
definitely their problem.
He's still there. Yeah. Like, oh, it's him again. Right. Jesus Christ.
He's just in overalls.
Yeah, everybody said he was so happy, pulled in. He said, living the dream. This is great. Yeah. Got me a job and feeling good. He said he had a construction job and he felt great, and said he was just happy as shit. Okay. Just whatever. Everything was fine. But for some reason, he ends up returning in late 2004. I guess that job didn't work out, or the contract was over, or something. But he returns to Salina, Oklahoma, and breaks one of the basically the crime and sports commandments of don't go home.
It's fundamental as fuck.
Never go home. And he goes right home, which is a bad sign here. He tells his high school friend of his that he got into a physical altercation with an officer in Iraq and got kicked out of the Marines. Surprised he didn't say he shot him from 300 yards with no scope. Yeah, they look down on that sort of shit, so they booted me. He also says he says that this is not true, by the way, but he tells all his friends that he has PTSD because he said that he was forced to clean out a Humvee that had been blasted, and he said there was blood and brains all over the cab that he was forced to clean out, which never happened. No. I'm sure there's been plenty of Humvees that were blasted by Iraqis, but none of them that he had to clean out. Put it that way.
And he's giving he's a fucking problem.
Exactly.
He's an asshole.
He's looking for some kind of, he has to be big man.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
It's gotta be interesting.
It's gotta be interesting. They said while he was in, I think it's Takadam. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. While he was there, no one was killed there.
Not one.
No one. When the time he was there, no deaths in that area of combat related deaths. Yeah. So he never saw that whatsoever. It's impossible. A friend of his, his friend that he told the story about the fight with the officer, his mother, Cindy David, said, quote, he didn't look well about Tyner. They said he wasn't, said he used to Tyner used to come over and he would bow hunt and shoot deer from the tree stands in their property. And she said he had a smile you couldn't miss, but he became very serious and solemn. So he was just a different cat when he came back. And I'm sure part of it is he just went through the ultimate failure. He went in, didn't fit in socially, couldn't do it fucking hack it physically, couldn't do it mentally, just couldn't do anything the job requires. And you have to feel like shit after that. You have to. There's no way you don't feel like shit after that. Yeah. Anytime you go and just completely fail and utterly in every aspect of it. Yeah. It would be like having a bad set and bombing in comedy except for fucking months. That would be terrible. Just a never-ending set that you can't get out of. Is he ready back? No, I'm still 5. Okay, 5 more. Okay, got it. Okay, so where's everybody from?
You two married?
Anybody got kids? Shit.
Give it up for the troops. You all hate the troops? Oh, boy.
This isn't good. This is bad.
This is a vegan conference and you all hate the troops? This is weird.
This is super weird. He told his friends, too, one time they went to the carnival together and he left when the fireworks started because he said he couldn't handle the explosions and all that type of shit. Now, his buddy Fugate, not his buddy, but his military Marine friend here, Fugate,
who clearly hates him.
Yeah, he says that he resents any discussion of post-traumatic stress with this guy, with Tyner, and he says, quote, that fucker wasn't over there long enough to see shit. Was his response. I want to talk to this guy. He sounds like a fucking fun conversation. That fucker wasn't over there long enough to see shit. Fuck him. Wow, so that's fucking awesome. So yeah, that's his response. So, but he's still making up stories, and around this time he starts, kind of doing menial work. He works as a bouncer. He works for the county tree service department, trimming up trees on the road and shit like that for a while. Works at a cement plant. He's rudderless, man. He's just wandering, trying to figure out what to do with himself. He hasn't even started the sports yet. You notice that?
Right.
We still have sports to go here in the middle here. He fucked around with cars. Was his thing on the side. He liked to dick around.
Like a mechanic?
Yeah, fix cars and shit like that. He meets a woman and has another baby.
God, Jesus.
Stop. Just, my genes are great. I need to pass them along. I'm doing so well. He
doesn't deserve sex. He should have to tug until he succeeds at something.
Sir,
that should be a thing.
Women of Oklahoma, I decree no one shall have sex with thine David Tyner until he succeeds at something. We shall let you know. Updates forthcoming. Thank you.
There will be no bird for any of you.
That would be fucking amazing.
Until he succeeds at, listen, something. Anything, you fucking,
you label
Jesus,
him.
You loser.
Make him wear a special hat so all the women know. We're not allowed to fuck him. It's a no pussy hat. It's the opposite of the ones that the women wore in the parades. It's a no pussy hat. How it goes. So
somebody knit that.
No pussy, got to design it, knit it. So I don't know what the fucking no pussy hat sounds like, but it looks like, but it sounds awesome.
It sounds disgusting.
And gross. Yeah. Gross. So, he's got a baby here. He doesn't know what to do. A lot of his friends, his old wrestling friends, were getting into MMA, as they do.
Oh, it's that time period.
It's that time period. We're talking 2005, 2006. MMA is really,
shit is ramping up.
UFC is blowing the fuck up. It was becoming very popular. This is when The Ultimate Fighter first came out, the reality show. So that really got people into that's what hooked people.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. It has nothing nothing to do with what's going on in the ring.
Right.
That's what they don't fucking understand. Like, if you watch the HBO documentaries on the boxing, it doesn't matter if you even know who these fucking guys are. Neither of them could speak English. It doesn't matter. They make it so interesting that you have to see what's going to happen, even if you don't give a shit about boxing.
Right.
I have to see if this guy's going to, honor his dead mother, or if this guy is going to, help his fucking, his muscular dystrophy daughter that he's, got to pay medical bills for.
Right.
I'm into this shit. Like, that's what you do.
Well, it's the same thing with the store's dash. I mean, you watch the Kardashians, then you go to the store and buy their shit.
That's what I mean. That's what I feel like that's what fucking wrestling hasn't figured out yet.
Yeah.
If you watch, like, I can't fucking, like, watch a lot of modern wrestling. I can't do it. Like, apologies to a couple of, like, wrestlers that we talked to. They're actually a couple, like, Cassius Ohno, our boy. That dude fucking is great to watch. He's awesome. And, like, dudes like that. But a lot of them, like, WWE hasn't figured out to make the shit. Don't make them do backstage sketches and shit like that. Make it a fucking reality show that they fight,
and then translate that shit to the live stage.
Build that up. That's how you build up shit.
Yeah.
That's how you build up fucking feuds. They're better. VH1 was better at building up fucking New York versus some other chick on Flavor of Love than WWE is building up two fucking dudes or women or whoever fighting for a title in front of 60,000 people. Right. It's sad, but that's the truth of the matter.
And 60,000 people are all that watched Flavor of Love.
No, that got huge ratings.
Did it?
Fuck, I Love New York was the highest rated show they ever had.
On VH1?
On VH1.
Really?
Ever fucking had. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That
5 million people watched the season premiere of it, I think.
Unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. That shit was that fucking big. That's more people than watch Raw every week, WWE
Absolutely.
Raw. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And this, if you include fight, I don't understand it, because the Ultimate Fighter, that's what got people into the Ultimate Fighting, and that's just not what they're doing. Yeah. They're having these guys read from scripts and tell each other big monologues and shit. What are you doing? What are you doing? You think we want to watch a fucking 24-year-old dude with slick back hair and a fucking beard try to act now? No. He's precarious doing backflips off the top rope. Right. Never mind fucking acting. Let's take it one step at a time here, everybody. Calm the fuck down. Have him argue with somebody about something real.
Right.
And let them make up the word so it sounds real.
Fake.
I don't know.
Every week could be the same storyline of one dude sleeps with another dude's diva.
That's it. You could well, there's that.
Create something.
You can create anything. You can create stuff if they're all traveling together. It's a big road show. God. So fucking create that atmosphere of they all, in this city at that hotel, they got into something, do that. You can fucking do it. Don't just have them. We only know each other and see each other when we're at an arena backstage, and then we have big monologues with each other in the middle of the fucking ring. It's the stupidest shit ever. And they're like, why is this so down so far? I don't get it. 20 years ago, there was 8 times as many people watching. What happened? Gee, I don't fucking know. Storyline, assholes. Stop it. So that's I'm off my soapbox now. That's why I can't watch that shit now. Anyway, so anyway, everybody was into the Ultimate Fighter, and he was like, whatever. He knew a guy named Jason Nicholson who was in kind of the MMA business, and he said, "Can you get me into this? Can you get me matches? Like, can you? I'm a high school wrestling champion and shit." And the guy said, "Fuck yeah, I can." So gets him into that. Tyner trains at a few fights around town there, but usually just he goes back to his high school, trains a little bit there, because he's well known there. His coach Cook, said, quote, "The kids loved seeing him. Before he left, he'd always say, 'Love you, coach, love you, coach.' But that was Bird." Okay. So like, just a very once he was at the high school, all the kids loved him, and that was kind of in his... If everybody kissed his ass and liked him, he was in his element, and he was fine.
And he didn't have to lie.
He didn't have to lie. He didn't have to do anything. There, they had plaques on the wall. He didn't have to lie.
Right.
They looked up to him as, this is the guy who I'd like to be like him.
Yeah.
So no lying necessary for him there. But he does not train real hard in the MMA, as hard as he should. But he gets into it anyway, and he has his first fight, November 10th, 2006. Okay. This is at FCF, which is Freestyle Cage Fighting. That name will come up over and over. This is FCF 6. Okay. This is at the Brady Theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where magic happens. I don't know. He's fighting James Grant, who is 0-1 coming in, and 0-3 for his career. Not terrific. David
Steiner does well.
Yeah, so he's not doing well here. David kicks the shit out of this guy. It's a TKO with punches at 2 minutes and 8 seconds into round 1. So his first fight, he just comes up and beats the shit out of somebody weaker than him, basically. So he's 1-0. That's November of 2006. January 2007, this is FCF 7, the next big event. This is at the Fire Lake Grand Casino in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Yes.
Holy shit, my God. It's one night it's Air Supply, and the next night it's FCF 7. That's how it works. They got to clean up the stage.
Hell yeah.
Get this shit going.
The girl from I Dream of Jeannie signing autographs.
That's what it is. Barbara Eden signing autographs. I know my shit. I know my old sitcoms.
That's our girl.
That's our girl. So he's fighting Jason Howell.
Oh.
Sounds like a comer, right? He's going to kick some ass. He's 0-0 coming in. This is his first fight.
Oh, debut.
And an 0-2 career. So this does not go well, as you might imagine.
Steiner comes out of the gate whipping ass.
Tyner.
Do I keep calling him Steiner?
You called him Steiner a couple times. I figured you'd get it right.
I'll never get it
I thought
right.
maybe because we were talking about wrestling, you went to Steiner from the Steiner brothers.
It's probably true.
That might have happened there. He's a wrestler, Tyner, Steiner. I could see that. So
the crossover is easy.
It's really easy here. So this is another first round TKO with punches. So another guy just comes in and pummels and makes him 2-0. That was January 20th, 2007. January 26th, he fights again. That's twice in a week. That's a lot. This is Titan FC Fighting Championships, Titan Fighting Championship 6. This is at the Memorial Hall in Kansas City, Kansas.
Oh.
The other Kansas City.
They have one too.
They have one. We have one too.
I think I just learned that.
We don't have any sports.
Yeah.
We don't have that. And we're not famous for our food, but we're here.
Rock chalk.
You can, if you go too far west, you'll get here.
Yeah.
You won't know you're here because this is what we do. If it just still says Kansas City, you won't notice that shit. You won't notice entering Kansas City. You see, because you're already in Kansas City, and the next thing you know, we got you.
Is that what it is? It's that close to the border?
Yeah, they're like on the other sides of the border of each other. We will find that out when we are in Kansas City for Small Town Murder Live.
Yeah, what day is that? That's pretty soon.
It's just about sold out,
I think
though.
It's in August.
Yeah, it's just about sold out, so don't worry about it, though.
Okay.
You can't get that. It's going to happen, though. Next fight here. So, like I said, the 26th, he fights Titan FC. This is in Kansas. He fights Greg Jacobs.
Oh.
Tough guy.
Yeah.
He's 0-0 coming in. So he's a new fighter.
Yeah.
What do you think? He's going to be world champ?
He's full of piss and vinegar. He's excited.
He is.
Yeah.
In his career, his record at the end ends up being 0-1. So, very accomplished career.
China retired him.
He's retired a couple people now, or I think he planted the seed in their head.
Yeah.
This guy retired him. He beats him at 2:32 of round 1 with a arm triangle choke. It says it's a submission. 3-0 for Tyner here. Now February 10th, which is 2 weeks later, this guy is fucking packing him in. And 2007. This is FCF 8. Okay. He's just going to fight at all the FCFs. Yeah. And that's all he's going to do.
Every event.
Every single one. This is at Kane's Ballroom in Tulsa.
I thought you were going to say Kane's Chicken.
Kane's Fried Chicken Fingers on University in Tempe. This is Kane's Ballroom, where free chicken for every time you enter. It's 2 free strips right at the door.
We make the sauce daily.
It's right there. This is fighting Mitch Smith. Now, Mitch Smith is 0-0 coming in. Okay. It sounds like a fucking alias because he wasn't sure if he was going to be good at this. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if this is going to work out. My name's Mitch Smith. I don't know if I want to tell my family about this.
Just in case I suck. What's your name, boy? Mitch.
Mitch Smith. Mitch Mitchell. I mean Smith. That's more believable than Mitchelson, right? Yeah. Mitch. No one naming their kid Mitch Mitchelson, right? No. We're going with that. So he wasn't sure if he'd be good at this, so he's going to go with Mitch Smith, and his questions are answered because he has an 0-1 career record as Tyner retires him as well. This is a submission with punches. So he just I'm done. Stop hitting me, please. Okay. That's what I picture, a polite, like somebody doing the timeout sign. Yeah. Please stop hitting me now. That's enough. I give, like a little brother or something.
It was one punch, though, and he was like, boy, that hurts way more than I thought.
Uncle.
Yeah.
Start running around the ring trying to get the ref. Oh, hey, buddy.
Hey, how do I tap out to
Can
punches?
I ring that bell?
Do that?
Is that something? That's what they should do.
Do I just tap me? Is that it? I'm done. I quit.
Oh, no. I would love in MMA if they had like a big rope hanging in the middle. Not that you could choke a guy with that rang a bell that you ended it yourself. Like if you're giving up, you just go ding, ding, ding. Like you have to fucking end it that way. That'd be amazing. I would really enjoy that. That's tapping out right there. You had to ring a bunch of little ropes hanging all around the ring. Ding, ding, ding. If you're caught up, you got to, hey, ring the fucking bell, pal. I don't know. Can't breathe. I'd ring the bell if I were you.
That is the loudest way to scream, I am a pussy.
That's what I mean. It would just go up and
this is not for me.
Really ring that fucking bell, man.
There's no way to tap out from punches. That's the point. That's crazy.
That is. It's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, apart from your corner man throwing a white towel, that's the only way to really give up.
Yeah, otherwise you just go, wave it off.
Fall down and start patting the mat?
And
what
wave,
do you do?
I don't know. I'm done.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Call it.
So this is round one, 235. He's 4-0 here. So this guy gives up. Now, March 10th, he's just moving right along a month later, 2007. This is at the Hutchins Memorial Auditorium in Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So back in Oklahoma, FCF 9. He's been in all he's an FCF regular.
6 through 9 so far, right?
Yeah, they really need to give him a decent fighter. Here he fights Jackie Lane, who comes into the fight 2-0.
How old is she?
Yeah, exactly. She's a 68-year-old woman with osteoporosis. So it's a really not a tough fight.
Jackie Lane sounds like she knits and fucking brushes her cats all day.
She also wins MMA fights because she's 2-0 coming in.
That's a good point.
This is the first fighter he's fought with a win ever in their whole career. The first fighter with a career win. Like even after him,
right?
2-0. But problem is Jackie Lane ends up with a 2-1 career record because this is Jackie Lane's last fight. This is a submission with a guillotine choke in 39 seconds of round one, and Jackie tapped her knitting needles on him, and that was that. Said she's going to do some fucking, what's it called?
Cross-stitch?
Cross-stitch. There you go. Cross-stitch was the one I was looking for. I was like, the thing that people send us all the time. I love those things. A cross-stitch.
They're amazing.
They're fucking dope. So he's 5-0 now. He's cruising. This is great.
Yeah.
We've had guys who were really famous that didn't start out 5-0. Of course, they fought people who
were good,
who actually fought, who weren't just like guys they picked out of the parking lot. Want to fight?
Yeah.
Hey, free chicken strips if you fight tonight. Whole free chicken strip basket if you fight this guy. What do you say?
Extra garlic bread.
He got kicked out of the Marines. He's a pussy between the two of us. They called him. That's what they called him.
They told him.
His nickname was Pussy Shit back in the Marines. So I think you could take him. And the next thing you know, he's being choked to death on the mat. So March 23rd, 2007, fucking 2 weeks later, he's back at it. This is Titan FC 7. This is Titan FC 7 Red Rumble. Oh. Everyone on their period.
Yeah.
Everyone's synced up. You must be menstruating to fight in this.
Red Rumble?
Red Rumble.
Jeez.
Doesn't that sound like, it sounds like a ladies' event where they've all synced their periods up and are now going to fight to see who has the most fucking anger from it.
Check-in before each match. You still bleeding?
You
All right,
okay.
get in there.
Oh, yeah, look at her. She's all pissed off. Get her in there. Get her in, damn it. She's ready. They're never going to fight harder than they do right now, everybody. We'll say that much.
You said it so casually. She's all pissed off.
All pissed off. I picture them looking at her through like a two-way mirror, like the glass layer, or the one-way going, now look at her. She's in there.
Her with a stick.
Yeah, she's all pissed off. Look at her go. They go to the next one. Look at this one, too. Oh, man, she is got a bee in her bonnet, boy. This is going to be a good match, I think. They just do like annoying things around the house for like 2 days beforehand, get them good and irritable and shit.
Pop in the door, just say some catty comment.
Leave stuff on the counters, make them angry, like leave like toast crumbs all over. Just really piss them off, you know what I mean? Mix up their lotions.
Hell yeah.
Shit like that. Really, just little things. We're like, who has fucked with my lotions? No, I know how I put them. We're like, get her in the ring now. Now's the time.
Leave wet towels on the floor.
Yeah, just piss them off. Leave your underwear places they don't want them. Just shit that would make them just irritable. Not so much anger. Just feel like, and you add that up, and really,
2-3 squares left on the roll.
You know how it goes. Yeah. So. Just all pissed off.
It's so
the Red Rumble is here. He's fighting Jesse Lund, who is 0-0 coming in, but has a 10-6 career record.
Oh,
so this is a guy who becomes a fighter. David wins by submission with punches.
How about this?
This guy gives it up at 238 around one. So not a good beginning to a decent career of a 10-6 fighter.
He was 10-5 over the rest of his career.
Not too shabby.
Great.
Not bad.
Good for him for pulling it out.
Absolutely. So now this is he's 6-0 now. Mm-hmm. Now at this point, everybody said that he spent more time golfing and drinking than training.
Why does he have
for
money
any of
to
golf?
Fights?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It's Oklahoma. It's very open. He just dug a couple holes out and fucking made his own, I think. I don't know.
His own course.
Just whatever. I dug a couple holes out. I stuck flags in them. There you go. It's a golf course
some
now.
Wide open spaces.
Yeah, who
you
cares?
Probably hit a golf ball or two.
You hit him in there. Just make sure you pay attention where they go.
They didn't say he goes to the course. They just said he plays golf.
He said spent more time golfing.
Right.
That's all I heard. I did not hear on the course.
Right.
At the country club. That never came up. So they said he wasn't training that hard. He just was used to and he was getting by because he's fighting shitty guys. Right. He's getting by being a slacker. But this fight coming up, he had a fight in March. That's the Red Rumble fight. And then his next fight's in October. So he's got a lot of time, and he spends that time to seriously train. Okay. He's taking this fight seriously. October 27, 2007. This is the Oklahoma KO Nightmare in the Jungle 1. They plan more nightmares, apparently.
And where's the jungle? The jungles of Oklahoma?
The jungles of Oklahoma, where you can easily clear out your own golf course. So, this is in Adair, Oklahoma. Adair? I don't know what the fuck. A-D-A-R-I.
I think it's Adair.
A-D-A-R-I. A-D-A-I-R.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's even hard to spell.
Might be
Adair. Adair, I think, whatever. He's in the main event tonight, though. Main event match, Grace.
Really?
This is Grace. Right here. This is going to be Grace. Main event. And we're at Grace. He is fighting Patrick Smith, who's a real fucking fighter. He's 14-13 coming in.
Oh.
Experienced. He's lost to a couple of Gracies.
Really?
So he's fought 2 of the Gracies, and his first fight was against Ken Shamrock.
Jesus.
And he's beaten Butterbean.
Oh, what?
So this motherfucker's fought. He's been around. This is not a guy, that's why you have to take this fight seriously.
Right.
He's fought Gracies and a Shamrock.
Boxed Butterbean?
MMA. I think Butterbean did an MMA thing, probably.
How the fuck did Butterbean do that?
Butterbean was on his record of this guy's MMA record. So Butterbean must fight. Butterbean goes wherever the money is, and he goes and plants his feet and takes big swings. That's all there is to it. Who's paying me $5,000 to stand there and plant my feet and drop bombs? Because that's all I'm fucking doing. Period. That's it, man. So
it is like fucking swinging at a palm tree, though.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna bust your hands up.
Oh, he's just
the man can just take anything,
and you don't want to get close enough to him for he could actually hit you because there's a lot of weight behind that punch.
All of it.
So yeah, this guy Gracie's a shamrock, butterbean. Every guy he fought is an 0-0 coming into the fight here. Mm-hmm. This guy ends up being a 20-17 career fighter. This Patrick Smith,
really?
Yeah. So he's a good fighter. This fight actually goes into round 2. This is David's first time getting out of the first round here. Goes to 2 minutes and 45 seconds of round 2 before David finally loses to TKO by TKO. Mm-hmm. So this guy beats him, but he held his own. Mm-hmm. He didn't look terrible, and well, that's a real fighter that he fought. Like I said, this isn't some tomato can that they lined up for him. And basically told a lot of people around him that this guy was a kickboxer that he fought, Patrick Smith, and he said he didn't like the strikes that he got hit with. Basically, he got hit real fucking hard and didn't care for it. He told a friend of his that it was he was hit real hard, and he didn't really care for that aspect of it.
Yeah,
it was fun when he was just going in beating people up who sucked. That was a lot of fun. But then when another guy's good and hits you back, it's a little. Then it gets not as fun anymore. Yeah, it's not as fun anymore when you get hit more than they hit you, or more than you hit them.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good here. So at this point now, we're talking late 2007. He's 28 years old. He's got shit jobs. He's going from one shitty job to the other. He's got problems. He's got kids to support. He's got a lot of issues here. He's just having, and it's all his fault. He's fucked it all up himself. Yeah. He blew his scholarships. He fucking flunked, washed out of the Marines. He didn't train as much as he should have. But in fighting, honestly, it seems like if he doubled down and trained more, he might have been able to still pull off some kind of career out of it, because he fought a decent fighter and went in the second round with him. And, that seems like, okay, the guy didn't blow him up in 20 seconds or something. Then I would go, okay, maybe I see what he's getting at, but he held his own. Right. So, but he's just not, he's not going to.
The fight's won off the field or out of the court.
That's what I'm saying. The work you put in off the court is what helps on the court. Get. So yeah, it was weird. So he needed to make money. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, no matter what, he needs to make some money, and he's having a hard time making some money. And now we'll get into kind of how he tries to do that. Now, a lot of what's coming up here came from one particular article that was gave details that nobody else gave that was terrific, that were even hard to find in court documents and shit. It's an LA Weekly article by a guy named Jake Rosen. Just did a great job of summing this all up, so I want to give credit where credit is due. Whenever we use a lot of some particular source's information, I try to say, hey, that dude fucking helped a lot. Yeah. That lady fucking did a lot of work on this. Yeah, because normally it's a million different sources and court docs and shit like that. But if
everybody hits the same fucking things.
Yeah, if it's someone who really went up the ass of something with a microscope in a way that we possibly couldn't do by interviewing 50 people and all that, they deserve the credit for it. Yeah. Absolutely. So 2008 here, David takes a job as a traveling welder. From place to place. That sounds bleak. Imagine the fucking motels he's staying in, traveling welding. Ooh, boy. Those are some stinky carpets.
You barely want to be a welder when you're in one place.
Oh, imagine how much jizz is all over those Motel 6. Imagine, covered in trucker jizz. Just covered in it.
It's such a hard life, man.
Oh, dude. Man, he should just carry a black light with him wherever he goes. And a pipeliner? What's a pipeliner?
That's generally somebody that's like doing sewer work. You know what I mean? When a pipe is cracked and you can't, and you don't want to just dig up and fix it, you can put a liner down it and it like inflates.
Oh, okay.
And that way you don't have to replace the pipe.
Like oil tankers.
Yeah.
Okay, I
and it doesn't have to be a shit pipe. It could be really any pipe. But
where's Paul Calhoun next? Let me tell you about that shit pipe now. You want to line it up real nice, otherwise your shit's going to leak out everywhere. How much shit you want leaking into your yard is my question. I mean, maybe you want some.
Listen, sometimes it keeps your grass green.
I'll tell you what, the spot around the leak, you're going to have grass up to your fucking knees while the rest of it's brown and short. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be green up to your goddamn knees. But, your kids will be running around playing and you'll be like, stop playing in the shit grass. And you get them in there and you got to smack them around a couple of times. So, anyway, he would disappear for weeks or months at a time for jobs. Mm-hmm. He'd be gone for a month to Pennsylvania, gone for 2 months to Arkansas to weld, which, that sounds like a rough existence.
Yeah.
A road welder.
It seems like there's enough people in each town that weld that you don't need to fucking import somebody.
I don't know if it's just a company that
maybe a
national,
temp agency?
that hires out big jobs and they bring in people from different. I have no idea here.
They just store all their broken welds until they get the fucking the door-to-door salesman.
Something, yeah. And they said when he was back in town, they said sometimes you'd see him around town, kind of sparring or working out, trying to stay in shape and shit like that. But he wasn't like in any hardcore training. He meets a guy at this point named Denny Phillips. Now we'll talk about Denny Phillips because he's going to have a big role in this whole thing. Denny Phillips is also hanging around the gyms, and that's where he noticed David. Denny's a smaller guy. He's about 165 pounds, real tattooed up and shit like that. Not a guy who you'd see in a cubicle. No. Really, no. He's a little like a squirrely looking dude. Looks like he deals meth, basically. You look at him and go, I bet he has meth for sale. And he does. That's the thing most of the time. So he's Denny Phillips here. So, by the way, there's going to be another Phillips later, and there's no relation between them. No. Just a common name.
Oklahoma.
Phillips, Oklahoma was one of our small town murder towns, as a matter of fact. One of the most fucked up cases we had. Listen to that one. So
my most favorite opportunity to laugh.
That was insane. That was so anyway, they end up meeting at the gym, Denny and David here. They meet at the gym. Denny is also Cherokee. So right away they have a connection there. They're both Cherokee. They're both into fighting. They're both from the same area. They easily kind of get along. Phillips knew that David has fought a bunch of fights, and that's what Denny's trying to get into, cage fighting. So he's asking David about that. He knows that David knows a lot about MMA, and he's asking if he would help train him and maybe be his corner man for a fight. So he's like, I'm going to try to get a professional fight. You help me train and be my corner man and help me out and give me tips and kind of coach me along, which is right up David's alley. It's what he wanted to do. That's the only time when he's not being a jerk off is when he was back at the high school around the kids. Right. It's the only time everyone was like, oh, he's back in his element. And that's how David is normally. But everywhere else, he's a jerk off. So, he does that. Now, Phillips, the reason why he's and Phillips is older than him, but he's just getting into MMA now because he's kind of a late bloomer because he just got out of prison for stabbing a man with a knife. He had a knife concealed in his belt buckle and he stabbed a guy and went to prison for 11 years.
Jesus.
So he just got out of just did an 11-year bid.
So he just found out about cage fighting.
So, yeah, literally they said he came out and he was like, what's this MMA thing that's going on? Like, I don't even know. That was so in the late 90s. It was nothing. It was so, it was that weird shit.
You had to really pay attention to find it back.
Oh, yeah. It was happening in like bars and shit. That's where they were filming those specials and pay-per-views.
And in 2008, when you walk into a bar to go have a drink, then you're watching it on TV.
It's on in a bar.
Spectacle.
It's a spectacle. People are gathering for it. It's a totally different thing.
Shirts of these guys.
Oh yeah, now it's a huge event. It's overtaken boxing by far. He meets this guy. This Denny Phillips doesn't seem like the best guy for him to start hanging out with. No. Just I don't know. Just thinking about it. He seems like
an 11-year bid that's older than him.
Yeah,
might be a little,
he's knife wielding, stabbed a guy. Just seems like David could probably use a better influence than that. He kind of goes with his surroundings, and I feel like this isn't good. Now, Denny here, he is also trying to put together a little kind of a drug thing too, because he figured out that you can make a lot of money with drugs because he did it in prison. He would smuggle drugs into prison. That was one of his games. He has a very malleable asshole, I believe, is the only way he's going to do that.
Mushy.
He's got a very elastic asshole. He can just cram whatever up. You hear, because I'll read books about like prison and shit like that, the things that people take in their assholes into a prison. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Listen,
vaginas are the same, bud.
Vaginas are meant to open to shoot a fucking 8-pound child out, though. They're meant to do that and then snap out. You've never taken an 8-pound shit. You've never taken a shit with a head the size of a baby. Your asshole would not take that.
That's a good point.
It's not meant to stretch that big.
With a lot of pain, that vagina does that shit.
Yeah, but it's
and
meant
a lot
to.
Of screaming. But they jam quite a bit in that lap pocket.
But that's because there's an inside force coming out that you can't stop. Right. You're going, I'm going to put this big thing in my ass. You got to really work it, man. Yeah. That's great. And I'll hear like guys will be in like visiting rooms and someone will pass them shit and they like just kind of casually put their hand down their pants and quickly jam something up their ass. And I'm like, how do you, no fucking deep breath. And okay, I'm going to do it now. Okay, all right. Wait. No, okay. No, take two. Hold on. Wait, I
only got half.
Do I breathe in or breathe out? Like, no, these guys just whoop fucking right up the ass. So I'm impressed with that.
On cops too, when these dudes get pulled over, somehow they get it in there fucking right now.
Right up their ass. I guess it's pretty impressive.
I guess that's what the threat of freedom will do to you.
I like how fucking anal elasticity, I say, is pretty impressive.
It really
Not
is.
the word I'm looking for, I don't think, but it's pretty. Anyway, this guy, while doing this, went up and up in status in the Indian Brotherhood, which is a prison gang.
Sure.
So he became a big member of that, and they're pretty apparently known as a pretty fucking violent group.
I'm sure they
pretty
are.
Badass group, as most prison gangs are. Yeah. Most prison gangs aren't known for reading to children. They're known for their Meals on Wheels program, this prison gang, and known for their outreach to illiterate children.
Right.
And small children that have been just horribly infected with HIV in Africa. They're very into that also.
Big hearts on these guys.
Big hearts on this prison gang. I got to tell you something here. So no, these were pretty goddamn organized here. The things were so bad, like in Oklahoma with the gangs, that like opposing gang members' visitors knew that like Saturday was this gang's day.
Wow.
And so like the visitors didn't cross. That's how fucking deep in the gang culture it was, whether it was Mexican gangs or, the Aryan Brotherhood or the fucking, or the.
Do you got to fight an Indian guy walking in when you're a white guy if you're visiting a friend?
Beats the shit out of me. I don't know.
Like Indian wives and white wives just like boxing it out.
I guess so. And a Mexican chick coming and jumping on, and I don't know what's going on, but yeah. They were dealt a lot of drugs, obviously, in jail. He was, I guess Phillips was big into recruiting of people in jail. Like that was his thing. If anybody who was a native, he would fucking try to bring them into the fold and get them to put something up their ass and take it into prison here. When this guy found Tyner, who at this point is 240 fucking pounds,
my Christ,
and stocky and knows how to fight, and seems like a pretty badass dude, he sees him and goes, well shit, if I'm gonna have any kind of drug thing going, this is an enforcer right here. This is a dude who can fucking do my bidding for me. And he's just completely floating. He's out there. Tyner's a mess. He's got nothing. He's got nowhere to be. He's going for, welding jobs in Arkansas for 2 months. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's broke also. So, he ends up hooking up with Denny Phillips, and his friend's mother, that Cindy David from earlier, said, quote, Bird was nomadic. He never really put roots down, moving from his father's house to his mother's. They separated when he was young. He always wanted a family. So he never really has he's always moving. He's always here and there. He's very fluid here. Now Phillips is known around here as a guy that you probably shouldn't mess around with. Jason Nicholson, the guy who got David Tyner the MMA fights, warned Tyner about hanging out with Denny Phillips.
Really?
Yeah, he said that this dude's dangerous and, he shouldn't fucking hook up with him. This dude's going to get you in trouble and shit like that. And, but David said, no, we're really friends and we're just buddies and, we're both fucking Cherokees and we get along and we're talking about fighting and, he's not going to get me in any trouble. This Nicholson tells him, quote, you go into prison and you come out following the same rules, but I wasn't going to dictate who his friends were. So he basically said, I knew this guy was trouble, but what the fuck am I going to say? He's a 30-year-old man, 28-year-old man. I'm going to tell him who to hang out with. So that's what ends up happening. Finally, this happens over the course of 2008 and into 2009. By spring of 2009, David quits his job as a welder. Done. That's ready to quit and ready to get in full-time drug dealing here and all this type of shit.
How lucrative that shit is.
The lucrative, yeah. He's going to make money finally for at some point in his life here. He stops hanging out with all of his friends that he always used to hang out with. He's not around anymore. His girlfriend at the time came home one day and the way she put it, quote, saw several Indians sitting in her living room, which was not a normal thing. They just have a bunch of dudes over just sitting around. And they're all monochromatic, we'll say. Just, it's the same people. Like, this is weird. Like, he usually has a bunch of different friends, and it's not like just like 8 Indian dudes. It's, it's 2 white guys and a black guy and fucking this guy and just a bunch of different dudes. So, it's really weird here. They were all there and they were all cutting each other's hair. prison style, buzz cut style.
Okay.
Like they were all like having a prison hair party.
Weird.
Super weird. He said he was in barber school at that point, and this was homework for barber school, is what he said.
Shaving heads
and different buzz cuts.
Seems
and
like cheating.
Different types of cuts and fades and shit like that. I guess that's what you're supposed to do, give a bunch of haircuts.
And then you take pictures or some shit?
I guess. Yeah. And so he said that at this point they said he dyed a stripe into his hair just to practice dyeing shit. This obviously is not paying the bills. You know, he's living with this woman and going to barber school and not making any money.
And giving free haircuts.
Yes, and giving free haircuts here. He started to work as a cook at this point at a place called Boomerangs, but he would... Whenever he's not working, he was hanging out with Denny Phillips, and then he'd not work half the time and still go hang out with Denny Phillips. So it's, you know, it's one of those deals where...
He is now 30 and has zero direction.
He's got zero direction. He's got a bunch of kids. Though. He's got a couple of kids and responsibilities and things like that.
Fighting stuff.
And he's a mess, yeah. So 2009 comes around. He is David's introduced by Denny Phillips to a guy named Casey Barrientos. Yeah. He's known as Diablo. Which is the devil, which is if you're in the drug business and everyone knows you as Diablo, you're probably a badass. Yeah. It's just one of those things. Yeah. They don't hand that nickname out.
No, that one's
lightly.
That one's coveted.
It's probably coveted, yeah. So apparently Phillips had met Casey while they were in the joint together. Oh. So, you know, that's always a good matchup. This guy, Casey Barrientos, had just been paroled after doing time for a bunch of drug offenses and a drive-by shooting from earlier in the 2000s, which is nice here. He is affiliated with a Mexican gang, this guy, called the Southside Locos.
That makes sense, I guess. You don't want to give an Indian fellow the name Diablo.
No. He's Barrientos. He's Mexican,
generally
this
Mexican
dude.
Guy.
Yeah, generally, yeah. Casey, though, his first name.
That's weird.
Which is interesting. Anyway.
White mom.
Yeah. He's you could look. Everyone said you could look at him and go, "Oh, this dude's a fucking menace." Yeah. He had devil horns tattooed on his forehead.
There you go.
So you know what I'm saying?
Oh boy!
If a guy has devil horns tattooed on his forehead, he has checked the fuck out of society. He's checked out. He said, "I'm never going to go to a girl's house to meet her parents and say, oh, no, I'm a great guy and I'm going to take care of everything."
And every job I'm going to have is going to have a baseball cap and a fucking headset.
It's going to have to because this is super weird. Yeah, this is not great. So Barrientos just got out of prison. He's on parole and he's still just immediately, back into the drug game. He lives in Oklahoma City and he would have weed, coke, meth, everything passed along. He had a whole little system that he would do. He would send Phillips and Tyner to take drugs to Tulsa or Grand Lake to meet other people and kind of use them as, runners, basically. So that's what you want. You have
a distribution network.
Phillips is the drug guy. Tyner's the muscle, so nobody robs Phillips. That's how it works. So they don't come in and just take it from Phillips because he's a 165-pound guy.
No Omar. No
Omar here. There's no Oklahoma Omar.
Got it.
Okay, Omar does not exist. Well, Omar would have robbed them, no problem.
Yeah?
He'd have caught him. He would have had something in the road to make him stop and be like, "What the fuck is that?" And then he would have popped out from behind like a fucking tumbleweed with a shotgun. They'd have heard Farmer in the Dell being whistled through the plains and been like, "What's that?" And Barry comes out of a tumbleweed.
I robs drug dealers.
Yeah, give it up, motherfucker. And they'd be like, "What the fuck? How'd you do that?" And then he'd take their car.
They got cantaloupe blast. What are they? Pumpkins. That's it.
Pumpkin balls.
Cantaloupes, whatever.
Pumpkin balls.
Same thing.
He says, cantaloupe balls. Well, I could see that like a melon baller.
That's where I was going with it.
So I get you. So they do that. Phillips told Tyner at this point that Diablo there, Barrientos, needs a bodyguard because threats have been made against his life, and that he was telling him Tyner's up for this job to be bodyguard. So Tyner feels important at this point now. He gets paid to be a bodyguard. He gets little cuts here and there of drug deals. He starts to get a little bit of pay, a little bit of paid too. He starts to get paid. He's starting to make himself into this group. He says, but like him and Denny would do the same things. And he was like the same. They do the same thing in a drug deal. They both drop something off, or they both do something else. And he felt like him and Denny were doing equal work, but Denny would always have so much money he couldn't even fit it in his pockets, and David just didn't. He just didn't have that much money. So he's like, I don't like that. Like, I don't know what's happening there. Denny ends up getting his MMA fight.
Really?
He fights May 30th, 2009. This is FCF 32.
Yeah.
David's first fight was 6. Now we're up to 32. He fights Tyler Burns, who is a 3-1 career fighter. And Denny loses, and that's his whole career. 0-1. So that's that.
Drug dealing pays better.
He went back to drug dealing. Like, oh, that's right. Never mind.
Hurts a lot less.
A lot, yeah. You get punched. Isn't that weird? Safer than drug dealing, or less safe than drug dealing. MMA. So at this point, Tyner starts to notice that he doesn't think that Barrientos is giving him as many drugs to sell as he should. So he's not making as much money. He's saying, and he's watching Phillips make trips back and forth to Oklahoma City, doing all these drug deals. And he's like, I'm getting kind of froze out here.
Give me a shift too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's like, hey, I'll work overtime, man.
I gave you my availability.
He's holding his union card. Like, do I punch in or what, man? It's like On the Wire season 2. Never mind. So anyway, they said that Barrientos he basically had like, his house was like a big a drug dealer's house.
Yeah.
I mean, stacks of money everywhere. He had, type of guy that would have $100,000 on the coffee table, and dudes with guns just standing out there, and naked women walking around.
I'm in.
Like a movie. He saw movies and was like, oh, that's how you're supposed to operate.
I got it.
You stand there with a machine gun. You take all your clothes off, wander around, put that cash out on the table, like big giant like things of weed everywhere that they're just for
I get the gist of this job.
Yeah, I mean it sounds great, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't last forever, usually. Otherwise, everyone would do that. It'd be great. So one day here, August of 2009, this is a weird summer, too. David has some weird things he does this summer. Like, at one point, he reconnects with his old wrestling buddies this summer because he has less drug dealing to do.
Yeah.
So he does that.
He's got all kinds of time.
He's got time. So he hangs out with his, friends from high school that wrestled. He goes out on a boat and goes fishing and shit like that. And they just drink and kind of act like normal dudes do, like a normal 30-year-old dudes who hanging out with their old friends and reminiscing type of shit. He gave that Austin David guy that we talked about earlier, whose mom keeps talking about him. He gave him a turquoise ring set in a bear's claw, and claimed that that his grandfather, who was a medicine man, had blessed it.
Oh, Jesus.
Now you can believe that if you don't. I'm sure he did it. Yeah, somewhere in between.
Giant,
and there's a turquoise jewelry stand there, like all over Arizona and the Southwest.
Right.
If you ever drive through New Mexico, it's all turquoise.
Here's the impulse buy at the QT.
Now, you can believe it if you want. You can believe that this is real, but he also told this guy at one point that his grandfather once turned into an owl.
Oh my God.
Took full flight as an owl and then came back and transformed back into a person and was naked. Because obviously he wasn't going to have like khakis on while he was flying around as an owl. I assume they fell off when he turned into an owl. I don't know. He was naked.
You turned him into feathers, but you can turn him into feathers, but you can't turn him back into cotton. That's the trick.
I feel like they found him like naked on the sidewalk. He fell asleep, and they were like, "Why is your dick out?" And he was like, "I turned into an owl."
I was an owl,
and
I missed it.
I flew.
Did you see it?
I flew the planes, and then I landed, and it's so weird. Now I have no clothes on, and they were like, "No, Grandpa, that shit ain't gonna happen. Come on, buddy." No. So
he's in recovery. There's no way that this is just a drunk naked man.
Yeah, this is
Clearly,
bad.
He was an owl.
Yeah. Well, shit. So this
did they buy that story? Is that what the guy's saying? He's like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, they bought it. Yeah, it's okay. Sure, why not? If he's a medicine man, he might as well be an owl too.
That's the guy
Who
that
cares?
blessed this ring. I'll never take it
Owl
off.
man blessed it? Well, I'm fucking set then for life. Even at this point, David talked about moving to Norman, Oklahoma, where his friend Austin David was, to be roommates with him. So he's really talking about sort of a normal existence and kind of edging away from the drug dealing. Then in August 2009, David finds Denny Phillips at a grocery store, in a grocery store parking lot, and pulls up next to him. Now, Phillips has a girlfriend, a woman named Corrine Sanders, who's sitting in the passenger seat, and she says that Tyner pulls up and complains. He's pulling up to Denny to complain to him. He's complaining he wants more. Yeah. He's complaining he needs more. He needs more drugs. He needs more of this. He needs more of that. He's like, you have all this fucking money. I see you doing all these deals and all this money. I have bills to pay. I got kids to support, and I'm getting shit. Yeah. Help me out here. He said, I'm working hard. And basically what Tyner is doing is complaining that he thinks Barrientos is being greedy and, not spreading it around like he should. So Phillips could take this one of two ways. He could be like, all right, well, I don't know what to tell you. That's your fucking problem.
Right.
Or he could be like, cool, yeah, you're right, and then go tell Barrientos on him.
I'll talk to the boss.
I'll talk to the boss in a good way or a bad. He could say, hey, David's a good dude. We need to give him more. Or he could be like, hey, this dude's talking shit about you. We should fuck him up. One or the other. Or the weirdest one that you wouldn't expect him to say, he could say, quote, let's do something about it, which is what Denny Phillips says. Let's do something about it. And so Tyner says, let's do it then. That's what this woman heard in the car. Just that much. Let's do something about it. Well, let's do it then. And that was the end of the conversation. So that's eerie. That's eerie, yeah. Also, too, it's super weird. When he's hanging out with his wrestling buddies, he would start to tell them stories about the Indian mafia, which
doesn't exist.
No. His friend,
it's not a real thing.
Yeah,
they're called casino owners.
Yeah, it's like it's really pretty above board and boring.
They wear business suits.
It's really fucking boring too. Yeah. They don't like kill anybody.
No.
It's just super fucking boring.
They just tell you to stay out of the poker pit.
They're really just you could just call them businessmen. Right. And that's pretty much. I mean, any business is technically a mafia, I guess, but they're just businessmen. That's all.
They're booking DJs by the pool. That's all.
Yeah. His friend Austin David here would laugh at him when he would talk about the Indian mafia and be like, oh, this guy's fucking nuts. Like later on, he explained it as, quote, David and his tall tales. That's all it was just this fucking guy and his tall tales. Like, who cares, you know? Nothing.
The other part that we're glazing over right now is they have made a plan to eliminate Diablo. Is that
Diablo? Well, they've decided to, quote, do something about it. So
they're going to confront a man named Diablo.
With
they're going to horns on his fucking
They're going to confront
forehead.
the devil and that they don't like his business practices.
You better bring a fiddle, because I don't think that's the only way you're winning.
They're going to leave him a bad Yelp review and really take his whole empire down. So during the summer also, Tyner here and his girlfriend separate. They separate mainly because she didn't like Denny Phillips and that, you know, he was always out with Denny Phillips, and also that she didn't think David was being faithful to her, which he wasn't, because he was out fucking around with Denny Phillips.
He's a drug dealer.
Yeah, he's screwing whatever's around. So apparently someone specifically, though, he was hooked up with while he was attending the barber college there. He met a woman named Samantha Stanton, and these two end up moving into the only apartment complex in Salina, which is pretty fucking interesting. One apartment complex. It's a converted motel. We've seen those. Phoenix has a million of these converted Motel 6 apartment complexes that are fucking awful.
A lot of them are for sober living. A lot of them are for like military vets that like are down, that are they don't have any other way.
Yeah, they do have those.
But then a huge portion of them.
I knew people that have lived in those, and it was just all trash.
Horrible.
It was just the fucking trashiest people, and it was like $400 a month for a fucking for a furnished hole. It's a Motel 6 room.
They didn't even take the furniture out from when it was a Motel 6.
No, they didn't. It was the same as hotel furniture.
Shit.
And it had that fucking air conditioner heater thing in the wall on the floor that they all have. Oh, it's the worst,
horrible.
man. Goddamn terrible. So while he's there, he meets this Samantha Stanton. They move into the only this is a converted motel here. It's a short drive to where Denny Phillips lives also, so that's a good thing for him.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good location.
Quick commute to work.
Yeah, absolutely. He stops going to barber school completely. So at this point, while he's making his treks to Oklahoma City, Barrientos even had a bedroom for Tyner in his house, because he goes back and forth so much that if he's been driving, he's tired or whatever, he could crash there.
Hours and shit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's like, I gotta get off the road, man.
You can't get pulled over.
I gotta log it.
Yeah.
I gotta put it in the log. They're gonna
DPS checks.
What am I
logs,
supposed to do?
fucked.
I'm totally fucked here. So he would go and visit his daughter also, and Stanton, and then all that sort of shit. His girlfriend said there was always like bullets and knives all around their apartment in Salina, which is a weird thing. So she accompanied Tyner a few times to Oklahoma City, and she noticed that everyone there gave him a different nickname. Everyone there called him Hooligan.
Yeah.
Everyone called him Hooligan, and then right around this time, he gets a giant tattoo across his chest that says Hooligan.
Yeah.
She's like, is that like your name now? Like, everybody knows you as Bird, and you're David, and now you're Hooligan.
You're a soccer fan.
Sure, why not? So everyone that he knew outside of this little drug crew still called him Bird. But all of them didn't know anything about Bird. They all called him Hooligan. So he had these different identities here. His girlfriend was also, she was there, or Denny Phillips' girlfriend heard a couple more conversations that they had about Barrientos. I guess Barrientos relocated to a brick house that was in Oklahoma City on Southwest 56th Street. And a friend of his named Jose Fernando Fierro, who's 30 years old at this point, and we'll talk about him. He had owned the house, and he was leasing this house, and this Barrientos took over the lease payments from him and just moved in here. Now, Philip's girlfriend, she thought that she thought of Barrientos as very generous, would pay his lieutenants really well, would they'd go out and to do work, and he'd give them extra money, be like, here, why don't we get yourself something to eat afterwards? He'd give them gas and food money and shit nice. Like that. He'd throw them an extra $100. He'd pay, if they needed rent money or something extra, he'd toss them extra money and never really made a big deal out of it. But she said that Tyner was the only one who was really adamant that he was being screwed out of money, but he was really adamant about it to the point where Phillips kind of just had to go, go along with it. They start making a plan how they're going to get some money here. They start thinking about it, and they're like, all right, Barrientos is always on painkillers.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of pills. So you get him at night when he's comfortable and on a bunch of pills, he's going to be chill.
Hell yeah.
And his guard's going to be down.
He's going to doze off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the robbery.
Yeah. That's what it is. So they come up with a plan where Phillips tells Barrientos that Tyner is complaining about his pay. Okay, this is all on purpose. They plan to do this. He's going to say he's complaining about his pay, and this is what they're trying to get him to basically fire Tyner. Say, fuck you, then don't do my shit anymore. Okay, so they also later. It's weird too. They also later claim that Barrientos owes them $30,000 for drugs and a car that they got in a They sold him a car and sold him some drugs, and he didn't pay him the $30,000. They're trying to figure that out. So anyway, they get Tyner fired here, and they discuss this all in front of Denny Phillips' girlfriend. By the way, they plan out how they're gonna rob this guy that way.
A bad drug dealer named Diablo.
How are we gonna rob him? And let's just bring this. She can hear this. It's fine.
It's all right.
Wow. Now, they had reason to trust her. They said Tyner knew her since she was 4 years old. They've known each other forever, since preschool. So and he's older than her. He babysat her when she was little, shit like that. Phillips knew her father, who was also a member of the Indian Brotherhood gang.
Right.
So, they all know each other.
Intertwined.
That's why they feel comfortable. They feel like her father's a gang member, so they're, like Denny, so they feel comfortable that she's not going to be a rat, basically. So at one point, her father and Denny escaped the Mays County jail together.
What?
So, yeah, they escaped jail together years back. So, it's funny that he'd be like, hey, you know what, honey, I think he's a good guy. We escaped jail together. I think you guys would really... Who are you setting your daughter up with? Yeah, you have my blessings. He had my back when we escaped from jail. Jesus Christ, man. She said that basically they drive around talking about it. They drive, Phillips had a white Pontiac Grand Prix, and they'd offer, they drive around smoking weed and talking about it. The whole setup here. They offer her, Sanders, $10,000 to be the getaway driver. They do there. This is what they knew, that Barrientos kept $10,000 cash in a safe for bail money. He had an always $10,000 bail fund in cash in his safe. So they say, we know he's got 10 grand cash. So we'll give that to her. There's at least that. That'll be her money. Phillips said to Tyner, quote, if we're going to do this, then we have to do it. We can't just talk about it. And Tyner told him, quote, man, I'm real. I'm real. I'll do it. So the plan was, according to the Sanders woman, that Denny would be the one to kill Diablo. Basically, Tyner said that, they can't leave any witnesses behind. Also, anybody else there's got to go too. So at this point too, Phillips is now more into it than Tyner is, which is crazy. Phillips is all into it. He promises Tyner a prospect patch into the Brotherhood for doing this too. because they're going to say that he's a Mexican mafia guy or Mexican gang member, and they're going to try to get him a patch for this. They're going to try to get him in the gang.
He's going to start now.
Yeah, he's going to try to get into the gang. It's initiation here. He's going to get his tattoo and all that shit. So, he said that because normally this is for convicts, this whole thing. And he said, but if Tyner were to do something really big like this, that Phillips said he would vouch for him and get them to patch him in and get him in the gang here.
I wonder what their tattoo is.
I don't know. That wasn't mentioned. Probably, yeah. I think we brought that up once before. Didn't we? I want to say we did with an Indian gang. You were like, "Is that a dream catcher tattoo?" I think it was a small town murder.
Basic white bitches all over, and then the Indian, and
then they just get it on their forehead instead, or like on their cheek,
under their eye.
Yeah, some shit like that. So, this woman, basically, she was just like, she didn't know what to do. Tyner's girlfriend, like, pleaded with him to not do this, and he said that he just wanted to get away. He wanted to do this. He needed it. He ends up telling his girlfriend, look, this isn't for you. You should go. She wanted to be a writer. Yeah. So he tells her, you should go away and go be a writer because this isn't for you then, because this is my life.
And now that you know all about this.
Yes, this isn't my life. Yeah, go write a book about it. This will be interesting as shit. So she did. She leaves. She leaves in September 2009 and just takes off and goes away. Now, October 2009, Tyner tells a friend of him that he's quitting his job as a bodyguard for Barrientos and going back to school. It's at this point that this woman notices he has a new tattoo on his forearm too, which is a different, like a tattoo of that she doesn't recognize or some shit like that. So she's wondering about that. Now at this point, Barrientos has met a girl. Barrientos has met a woman here, so we'll talk about Barrientos for a second.
Senorita?
Let's talk about this here. We'll talk about a woman named Jennifer Ermey. Her family all thought she was a waitress, but she was actually a stripper.
Hell yeah.
She's actually stripping. She is from a well-off family, actually, but she doesn't let them know what she's doing. At one point, apparently, she came home and found her boyfriend hooking up with her roommate, which is bad. So she got her own apartment and then hooked up with her roommate's ex as revenge. You know how that goes.
And that's Diablo? Oh, okay.
No, it is Diablo, this guy. Okay. The guy that she hooks up. I thought you meant the other guy. Yeah, it is Diablo here. But this guy has a lot of money. Not the normal guy that she goes out with. She did it just to piss her off, but then the guy treats her nice. Yeah. He's got a lot of money. He buys her nice things. He's got a shitload of coke around for her to do. If you're into coke, you'll really do a lot to fucking be around coke. It's just one of those things here. So she was into coke and was into that. She hung out with another woman here named Millie Barrera, who's a 24-year-old woman. She's originally from Peru. She hangs out with Ermey, and they go out to clubs and shit like that. She works like retail jobs, works at the Verizon store and, the mall and shit like that. She was pregnant at this point, and gotten hooked up with somebody, but isn't married to them or anything. She's pregnant, but she still likes to go out and party and all that sort of shit. So one November night, she's 12 weeks pregnant. She tells her friend that she's going to go meet someone who let people party at his house, and that's Barrientos, because he has big parties over there. Where naked women walk around.
Hell yeah!
So early morning hours of November 9th, 2009, Barrientos and Fierro, this is the guy who owns the house or rents, the lease is in his name that Barrientos has his house, this Fierro guy. They drove to a Henry Hudson's bar, and they meet these two women. They meet Ermey and Barrera. They do some shots for a while and all that sort of shit. About 1:45 in the morning, Fierro leaves. He heads home while Barrientos takes the two women in Ermey's car, and he tells Fierro that they're going to the strip club that Ermey works at, which is called Centerfolds. So they're going to go party. It's 2 a.m. He's taking off. He's taking these two girls to go party at the strip club. Yeah. So they're going there. Now, later on, in the night, Barrera, the girl from Peru that's friends with Ermey, she calls an old boyfriend of hers, and he said she was drunk and said she was uncomfortable around the people who were at the strip club, and that he said he let the first call go to voicemail, but then he listened to it and was like, holy shit, this is weird. So he called her back, and he spoke with her, and he ended up going to the club to go pick her up, but by the time he got there, she was gone, Barrera. So he didn't know where she was. Now, Fierro, guy that leases the house, he gets a call on the way home from a woman who's a friend of his named Brooke Phillips. No relation to Denny Phillips. You might know who Brooke Phillips is, actually.
Wilson?
Brooke Phillips, yes. Brooke Phillips, do you remember the Cathouse HBO documentary? Brooke was one of the prostitutes on the Cathouse documentary.
All right.
Very young, tall, thin, blonde, short hair. You'd know her if you bunch of tattoos down her arm. She's very distinctive. You'd know her if you saw her. She would be the one that you would be into, probably.
All right.
Because she's got a bunch of tats and shit. But yeah, she was on that show for seasons. I mean, she was one of Dennis Hoff's girlfriends.
Okay, then I definitely know who
You'll
she
know
is.
who she is. If you look her up, Brooke Phillips, on your phone right now, you'll know who she is here. So she calls Fierro up asking for cocaine. She says, you got any cocaine? He had met her out in the clubs and even had her dance at some private bachelor parties that he had done back in the day when she used to live in Oklahoma, but she has moved away from Oklahoma and just now come back, and he hasn't seen her in a few years. So this is all like, Jesus, you're back in town and it's the middle of the night and you want coke? Sure. What the fuck? Okay. So Fierro drives to a house where he finds Brooke outside arguing with a guy that he doesn't know.
It's definitely not Dennis Hoff.
Definitely not Dennis Hoff. He would know. He'd go, that big guy from the Cathouse documentary.
He's the nicest person on earth.
He's a dickhead.
He is.
Have you ever listened to him talk?
Now, so
he's a fucking asshole.
I did. He was so nice to me.
He's a lunatic. Yeah, listen to his politics for 2 seconds.
Oh, I don't want to hear it for a second.
He was running for fucking shit.
He won after he died.
Yeah. Exactly. He's a fucking idiot. That shows how dumb people are.
He was so nice, though.
He's a fucking salesman pimp. Of course he's nice to you.
He sells vagina.
Yeah. He's an awful person.
He brought me a prostitute as like hello, nice to meet you. Would you like to meet my friend?
Yeah.
I was like, no thanks, dude. I'm married. But that was an awfully generous
Appreciate
gift. He brought me a woman.
That's very nice of him.
Because he was coming to see a tell.
Well, he's a real fucking douche, and wait till you hear what he says later, too. He's an idiot, this guy. So, Brooke Phillips here, she is arguing. She ends up jumping into Fierro's vehicle and snorting some coke off a CD case.
Right there.
Yeah, they still had CDs in the car. Then that's interesting. So, she snorts some coke off a CD case. By the way, we'll talk about Brooke in a minute here. She shouldn't be snorting coke off a CD case right now. We'll talk about that.
No.
Now after this, she just leaves in Fierro's car, and she says she'll pick her own car up in the morning, but she doesn't want. It's a little Pontiac Fiero. So she doesn't want to deal with this guy she's fucking arguing with here. So this Brooke knows the girls too, because she danced in some of the same clubs as Ermi. Barrientos' girlfriend. So they all kind of know each other. Brooke had a daughter at age 16, so she's supporting a 6-year-old at this point. They said that she would her friend said she would disappear for weeks at a time, and they didn't know where she went. That's when she was going to the Moonlight Bunny Ranch she'd do a few weeks out there, make a bunch of money, and come home and whatever. So that's the what is it called? The Moonlight Bunny Ranch in Nevada there, the Cathouse on HBO. So now that we know who these people are, November 9th, 2009, that's this day. Yeah. Now that was all the overnight on the 8th. Okay. Right. All this was going on. November 9th, there's a huge house fire in Oklahoma City. Authorities get there and they find 4 dead people inside of a house fire, and they assume at first that this house fire, it's the middle of the night, and so they just assume this was a house fire started in the night and overtook everybody. Is what they assume. Of course, then they get into it a little further, and they see that all 4 victims were both shot and stabbed, and the blaze seems very intentional. Yeah. So now it's a little different at this point. Usually people don't, stab themselves and start a fire accidentally. Yeah. So that's a, different type of thing here. So The Oklahoma police master sergeant here says that it's a guy named Gary Knight. He tells the news that they've established a relationship between David Tyner and at least one of the victims, but don't yet have a motive for it. There's also an eyewitness to this whole thing, a sole survivor of the house, who is Fierro.
Oh.
And he identifies Tyner as a guy that they need to talk to. Okay? Let's find out what the fuck happened here, because the police at this point, they don't think Tyner has acted alone, yet they haven't formally charged him or anybody else. They don't know what's going on. They believe this is a drug beef slaying because this is Barrientos' house, and he is one of the dead people, is Barrientos. And we'll talk about this.
They got Diablo.
They got Diablo.
They sent him straight to hell.
Straight to hell. They burned him straight to hell. So an arson investigator in his science, stick with me. I'm sorry about scientific jargon. I hate, but when it's given from the fire investigator, it's kind of neat to use. He said, quote, "They were totally burned up." So I don't know if that's too deep.
That's the fire investigator?
That's the lead fire investigator with the Oklahoma City Fire Department. That's his professional statement on the scene. Quote, "They were totally burned up." So I appreciate that from him. That's very nice. Very technical. Like I said, you got to really parse through it. But the bodies were burned so badly that one of the fire people, a Major Alan Deaton, was unsure at first if photographs were even of the victims.
Wow.
When he saw the photographs.
Is that a chair?
That's what he said. He said, quote, "At first glance, it may just look like charred debris."
Wow.
He said later, quote, he would looked at the guy next to him and said, "Is that a leg? Is that an arm?" And the investigator would look at it real close and go, "Yeah, I think that's an arm." They couldn't even tell in the photos what was what. That's how burnt everybody was. The people who are dead in this house are Casey Barrientos, Jennifer Lynn Ermey, his girlfriend, Millie Barrera, the 12-week pregnant girl there, and also Brooke Phillips ends up there, the Cathouse girl, who, by the way, is pregnant.
She's pregnant also.
She's also been quite pregnant, as a matter of fact. So she had returned home. She'd returned home to have the baby and to,
super pregnant.
She's pretty pregnant. Yeah. Not like right then, but she'd return home to be there for a couple months and then have the baby. That's what she was.
God.
She was going to have it there. What the fuck happened is a pretty obvious question. So how did 4 people end up shot, stabbed, and burned?
I guess 6, really.
6. That's what the charging documents are going to say later. Well, I guess Fierro drove Brooke back to Barrientos' house where he had a key and he could come and go as he pleased because it was fucking his house. And he was, on the lease. So Fierro said that Brooke requested that he take a shower and then they could have sex. She said, "Will you take a shower so we could have sex?" Which is the Bunny Ranch habit.
It's their way.
That's what they did. Yeah, they would make the guys wash. I watched the damn show.
Sure.
She also snorted a bunch more cocaine. They were alone for about 45 minutes before Fierro heard somebody knocking and whistling at the door. He didn't want to answer the door because he said that Barrientos always told him when someone was coming over, and he hadn't heard that someone was coming over, so he was like, "I don't really want to get this."
Also, his dick's out.
And his dick's out. Brooke said, "Will you just get the fucking door?" So they stopped so we can continue to fucking snort coke, please. Because that's what they were doing, She insisted he open the door, and I assume that's why.
Yeah.
Hey, we're fucking in coke snorting here. I don't want to have somebody going, "Yoo-hoo" at the door every 5 seconds here. So he opens the door, and Tyner is there.
Yeah.
It's David Tyner. Now, they went past. There's an electronic sensor for tolls at on Samantha Stanton's has a pass for that he has. That he says they got off the turnpike in Oklahoma City at 3:49 a.m. So they have him going into there, and Stanton said she last saw Tyner at 11 o'clock at night, and then so he was gone. Whatever. So apparently Fierro spent about a half hour just talking with Tyner, fucking around. They knew each other from helping Barrientos move, and they're both in kind of the same crew. Yeah. They run in the same circle, so they're just bullshitting back and forth. They had a couple drinks, fucked around. Tyner asked when Barrientos might be coming back, and Fierro said pretty soon, everything's closing now. It's like 4 a.m., so he's not going to be out much longer. He should be home from the strip club here. Fierro introduced Tyner to Brooke there, and then they all went back into the bedroom, and he invited Tyner to hang out and just wait for Barrientos there. He's like, "You're welcome to chill and fucking whatever. I'm just going to do some coke and bang this pregnant prostitute. It's fine." which is normal to do. So that's cool. So
keep yak-yakking. I'll be over here.
Yeah, you know how that goes. So Fierro left the living room at one point, and as he does, he hears Tyner on his cell phone telling somebody on the other end that the only people in the house were Fierro and his girlfriend. So they had a few drinks after that, though, and this guy Fierro never thought twice about it. He might have thought that he was there to get something from Barrientos, and he wasn't there, so he was saying, hey, I got to hang for a while. He's not here. The only people here are these people. So he wasn't thinking a big deal about it. So Fierro and Brooke are back in the bedroom by themselves after a while, and Barrientos ends up arriving. It's about a half hour later. Fierro is in there. He hears female voices. He figured that was Ermi and Barrera, there. So he's like, I understand that. Brooke goes out to say hello to them because she works with Ermi. She knows these girls. Fierro stayed behind. He doesn't feel like fucking dealing with the, cacophony of drunk people coming into the living room.
He's just finished. He's tired.
Yeah, he's like, I'm cool. Do whatever you want.
Always got to have that coke tug.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He said he heard them turn music on, and then people were talking and chatting. So it just sounded like they were having a little fuck around session out there. So Fierro stays in the back room while out there is David Tyner, Barrientos, Brooke Phillips, Ermi, and Barrera. They're all in the living room. Tyner at this point says that he called back. He called Denny Phillips at this point and told him that Barrientos was there. At that point, Tyner excused himself to go to the bathroom. Okay, he makes a phone call while they're all in the living room, then gets up and goes to the bathroom. A minute later, not even, while Tyner's in the bathroom, two more men show up here. These guys, Jesus Christ. Their names, first of all, one of the guys' last names is Hog Shooter.
Hell yeah.
So that's
a legit legal last name.
That is a legal last name. Yeah, these two. We'll get into them in a minute, who they are and everything. But for the time being, we'll just stick in the story. Hog Shooter and Cochran are their last names. Okay, they enter the house at this point.
I thought you said Cochran.
Yeah, Cochran and Hog Shooter are coming in. It's really bad that he has the word cock in his name. This guy's Hog Shooter. I'm like, really? You two are going to work together? That's your squad?
It's like a porn movie.
Yeah. So they come out and they start shooting at people, basically. That's what Tyner happened. That's what happens later on. Okay. Now before that, now what's Fierro's in another room in the back, so he hears this all going on. His view, he hears Barrientos talking, party time, talking normal, and then all of a sudden he hears Barrientos' tone get real serious, and he hears him say, "Oh, what the fuck," which is not like what was going on. So Fierro said before he could even get up, he heard gunshots ring out, and that was Hog Shooter and Cochran there coming in, and one of the bullets even went through the bedroom door where he was at.
Oh, geez.
So he even was like, oh shit, a bullet came into the room. Now Tyner walked out of the bathroom while this was all going on, and Barrientos was right there in front of him. So Barrientos had a knife at this point, and he was like, well, I guess it's on. Barrientos comes at him with the knife, and Tyner shoots and kills Barrientos right there. Then he goes over and shoots Ermi and Barrera, the two girls too, witnesses. Shoots them. At this point, Tyner sees Hog Shooter and Cochran inside, and they all start looking for cash and drugs. They shot these three, and now it's time to look for cash and drugs. They're rifling the garage. A little while later, Tyner said he heard Hog Shooter and Cochran firing their pistols, and it was at Fierro, who was fleeing the door through the garage. That's what he says, but Fierro has a different account of it. Fierro says he looked around, he saw the gunshot through the door. He said that he said the living room was where everybody was, so he didn't want to do that. The other door led to the kitchen, and he could get out through there. So he ran out there, no shirt, no shoes, dick wet.
All the service.
You know how that goes. Sprints through the kitchen and into the garage and hit the button to open up the garage door.
Oh, God, that must have been the longest wait ever.
So as he's running, he says he turned and saw Tyner chasing him. He also saw a white Pontiac Grand Prix parked in the driveway, which is Denny Phillips' car, as we know. And at this point, he said Tyner was yelling to him, "Hey, dog, come back. I'm not going to fuck with you. I'm not going to fuck with you." Like, he's like, "You're not a part of this.
Right.
Like, you're cool. You can whatever." He was like, I don't know.
Did he keep running?
Yeah. So no, he kept fucking running. Okay. He ran and ran. He continued to run, and he ended up smashing into a horse that a neighbor had. He ran into a horse in the dark in a neighbor's yard. He said that he was chased on foot by Tyner. He said he eventually hid underneath a tree and waited for 45 minutes. He said while he was waiting, he started smelling smoke. And Fierro then ran to another house, a relative that lived several blocks away, and hid out there but didn't call the cops. He's also got a bullet wound in his foot. We'll find out. He's shot, too. So then Tyner comes back to the home and finds Hogshooter and Cochran holding bloody knives.
Oh, boy.
Tyner at this point said, this is brutal. He said he saw Brooke Phillips laying on the floor with several gunshot and stab wounds in her. Brooke Phillips apparently was noticeably pregnant too. I mean, this is not she's not 12 weeks pregnant. She's noticeably pregnant. They said it was known that she begged for her life. Also, a pregnant woman begging for her life. One of the defendants here later on will be the defendants. One of these assholes. They put a gun in her face and shot her through the eye socket.
Wow!
While she was begging for her life, and then shot her 5 more times. And apparently, she still was alive. And so they burned her.
Oh, Jesus. They burned her alive.
They burned her, yeah. She was burned so badly, that's where the source of the fire, that she had to be identified through dental records and the remains of a couple distinct tattoos. They couldn't tell even what she was, never mind who she was. Now, the other guys climbed up a tree. We told you that here. So the way they put it, Barrientos took 4 shots to the torso, 1 to the head. They think Millie died. Barrera died second. She was shot in the back, and it's like she was trying to run away. Yeah. So this is after. Then we had the chase. He chases Fierro there. Ermi also, we haven't talked about her yet. Ermi was all bruised. She was beaten up. They beat this girl up. She was found, her femur was fractured, her ribs were broken.
Why'd they do that?
I don't know. She was shot in the hand. Obviously defense wounds there. Apparently that's what apparently they think they ran out of ammo, and that's why they started stabbing. Instead, they just started stabbing people.
Beat them to death.
And beating them.
Unbelievable.
Both women had stab wounds. Brooke Phillips' larynx was also slashed, and her abdomen was slashed. They actually slashed at their stomach.
That's disgusting.
And then shot her a bunch of times and set her on fucking fire.
Unbelievable. And they started the fire with her.
They poured later. We'll talk about this here.
Why did they choose her? Why were they so mad at her?
She wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Everybody else died. She wouldn't fucking die. They said she wouldn't. We'll talk about it in a second, but they said later on, there's a witness that says she wouldn't fucking die.
Wow.
They stabbed her, they slashed her throat, they shot her. She still wouldn't fucking die. They're like, she was indestructible here.
She was part Cherokee.
That's maybe.
That's the rumor.
That's possible.
It's a motherfucker.
So she's pulling some Rasputin shit going on here. Her bullet wounds also. The wounds that she has, Brooke, indicate a struggle as the shots aren't grouped together but spread out like they were shooting her as she was squirming and trying to get away. So she wasn't there. They were all shot in the head, obviously.
Yeah.
They said the whole thing probably took less than 3 minutes. Bodies were in all different rooms there. There was gasoline spread all over the house and lit, but also on Brooke. They think Hogshooter started the fire, and they all fled the scene in Denny Phillips Grand Dam. They drove to a location here, and they buried their pistols. They drove out to Shawnee, buried their pistols and the clothes that they used in the murders, and then drove to Denny Phillips' house, and then they all split up from there. Now they also the pass, the electronic pass thing says they got on the turnpike again at 5:30. So they were there an hour and a half tops, and at the exit towards Salina at 7:30 a.m. And there was also the Grand Prix was captured that morning at a nearby business by their surveillance camera, and that was that. The fire is reported at 5:37 a.m. That's when that comes. Medical examiner is, when they get there, Ermi's still alive. She's the only one still alive. She didn't suffer the fatal gunshot wound. She ended up dying of smoke inhalation.
God, Jesus.
So, it's all as bad as it could possibly be. Now, the gas company employee said that belonged to Jose Ferrero at the house. He said that Ferrero actually used to work for the gas company, but was fired for failing a drug test there. So he knew him, actually. Yeah. Initially, they thought Fierro was one of the burned bodies. Really? And then they realized that he was up a tree and not there now, or under a bush or whatever. There's separate reports. Really? One time he said he was up a tree, and the other time they said he was under a bush. So he's either over or under. He's something. I don't know if he's a bird or a mouse, but he's doing some shit. So now Fierro's grandmother was calling a lawyer for him, because that's where he went, to his grandmother's house. He didn't speak with the cops for a couple days about the fire, and when he did, he said it's all Hooligan. He doesn't know David's real name. He just knows him as Hooligan. So Tyner's girlfriend, his new girlfriend here, the Stanton woman, wakes up and finds him not there, which that's pretty normal. He usually, I guess, would get up and out of the house early and go work out. Noon that day, he came around, and he was there around normal. She said he was acting normal. He didn't smell like gasoline. There was nothing incriminating. He didn't have bloody knives laying around, nothing like that. At the crime scene, police figure out that Barrientos was wearing, by what he was earlier in the night, he's wearing about $10,000 worth of jewelry when he was murdered that were all gone. This was a diamond, white gold cross necklace, matching diamond white gold earrings, diamond and white gold bracelet. And they said that the house typically has a lot of fucking money in it, and they could only find $221 in the house.
Wow.
So
they got it all.
Shit's been robbed. Also, they have bullet casings from 2 different guns at the scene. So they're assuming that Hooligan, who that's the only person they know of, is not alone, unless he was wielding 2 separate guns.
That's very weird.
Yeah, which is totally different and doesn't happen very often. That week, he makes a bunch of phone calls. Tyner does. He speaks with his ex-girlfriend's father, who is in prison, who he met in prison. That's how they got hooked up. And he says that he tells him that he'll be seeing him very soon.
Oh, boy.
So he knows he's going to jail, is what he's saying here. He also talked to Jason Nicholson, who told him that U.S. Marshals had been at his door looking for Tyner, saying that, do you know this guy is Hooligan? He goes, I don't know him as Hooligan, but I know that guy is Tyner, and I know him. I guess Tyner at first played dumb, and he said, what did they want? Like, what do you do?
That's weird.
That's weird. That's strange.
The Marshals?
U.S. What do they do? Are they?
What's their job?
What are they doing? Nicholson apparently didn't buy his shit and told him, quote, you can't run from the law. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. So he's telling him no. November 17th, Tyner walks into the Pryor police station 10 miles outside of Salina and says, quote, I'm David Tyner. I hear you guys are looking for me. So they sit him down. He wouldn't talk to detectives. Nicholson tried to get some money together to help him out with a lawyer. And Tyner told him, don't even worry about it. He said, quote, I got this public defender. Take care of it, no problem. Gonna be fine.
Got me a lawyer. We're good.
He's the best. He's the best that they had to offer that was available right now. I'm pretty sure, anyway.
He went longer than me.
I mean, a state school, but he still went. So they said that at this point, November 24th, a bunch of different there was a bunch of prison rioting going on. Mexican inmates attacking Indian Brotherhood, which was retaliation for Barrientos. Oh. So this spilled over into prison here. This was a huge deal. 6 people were hospitalized. A few days later, 2 American Indians here took a hatchet to 2 Hispanic gang members and almost killed them both. Whoa. And this put the whole prison into lockdown for months. Probably because how the fuck did you get a hatchet in here?
The second question is, if you've got a hatchet, how is the guy that you hit not fucking dead?
They're alive. They're both alive.
Bad swinger.
No shit. You're bad at hatcheting. Shit,
that doesn't take much, James.
No, it really, really doesn't here. So, yeah, they're talking about all these fires. Everybody's shocked. Jason Nicholson said that he described Tyner like a brother, and he says, quote, knowing what he's charged with shocks me the most. He would have never thought that. Police interview Fierro a lot about this whole thing. They say he's not a suspect. They said that he was, lucky to escape is the whole thing there, lucky to get out of it. Now, Denny Phillips Tyner's in jail. Phillips is not.
Okay.
They're looking at Phillips. They think he's involved, but they have no evidence to arrest him. So this idiot, rather than lay low, maybe fucking go to another state, something like that, he does something the complete opposite. There is a 6 counts hanging over his head of fucking dead people. This idiot, the police officially are describing him as a person of interest at this point. But Jesus, what a fucking idiot. January of 2010, good God, man, he's arrested, listen to this shit, for possessing a weapon as a convicted felon. Listen to where he got this fucking weapon. He robbed the home of a Tulsa homicide detective.
What?
A guy named Mike Huff, Detective Mike Huff. He stole a police uniform, guns, family heirlooms, and this cop's truck. Stole a Silverado pickup truck. And
are you out of your fucking mind?
That's what I mean. You can't. And he's got uniforms, he's got guns, he's got all this shit. So at this point, police are worried, and they organize a task force to hunt them down because they're like, we can't have some guy posing as a cop out there with a full uniform and everything. So it's at this point, Tyner's in jail. His girlfriend, Samantha Stanton, just starts dating Denny Phillips. Just like, fuck it, whatever. I mean, well, who cares?
He's right here.
He's right here.
He's the laziest dater ever.
It's pretty much the same thing, I guess. I don't know. He says drugs and stuff. So she begins dating Denny Phillips. Denny Phillips knocks her up right away. Now this happens. Everything's fine with them until April 2010. This is how long he's on the lam after he robbed that fucking cop's house and everything. April 2010, they're cornered in a Tulsa Motel 6, which is not a good place to be cornered.
That is gross.
Man, Phillips still had the stolen gun he got from Huff, the police officer, and he hopped around like acting like he was going to shoot, jumping around like he wasn't giving up. Basically, is what it was. So he basically would bounce around, and the cops weren't going to shoot because he's inside of a fucking hotel lobby and there's other people around. Right. So they're like, what are we supposed to do with this asshole? He's got his gun shooting, but he's hopping and hiding behind shit, looking out the window. So they didn't know what to do here. So they ended up having to shoot at him. They shoot at him. He suffers bullet wounds to his, quote, torso and crotch.
Oh, boy.
The report says, and this is my favorite report ever here, quote, his testicles were unsalvageable.
Oh, what?
And his penis was partially severed.
They got him.
They shot him in the dick and balls. And he lost a toe.
And they ruined him.
Yes. So torso, crotch, and toe.
Oh, boy.
Unsalvageable testicles, Jimmy. I have never in my life heard those two words used back to back. Unsalvageable testicles. Have you ever heard that?
No, but I'm going to start calling people that.
Doctor, his testicles are unsalvageable. I've never heard that before. So they shoot him.
You're as useless as an unsalvageable testicle.
And a partially severed penis. He is in the hospital in, quote, serious condition. I'd call it extra super serious condition. I'd call that fucking red alert, code blue, unsalvageable testicle problem. This is at a Tulsa hospital. Jesus Christ. One of the cops there said that they all purposely fired low to avoid shooting anybody else. And they shot him.
One of the cops was like, I think I hit him in the dick.
So, they're never going to be able to salvage his testicles. I'll tell you that right now. His testicles are fucking done.
Boys, aim low, but if you get a shot, take it.
Take it.
You got it, sir.
All right, in his ball bag. The officer.
Aim low. You know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying. Wink, wink. So the officer later on said, just to clear a few things up that were reported incorrectly. First of all, Phillips was shot by 2 Tulsa police detectives. No SWAT team was involved. They said the reason why the shots were low was due to the fact that Phillips was standing in front of a large window. 2 detectives shot low to prevent any possible injury to innocent citizens. Actually, the low shots were pretty effective. This is a quote from him. Half of Phillips's penis was removed along with both testicles. I am a retired 30-year member of the Tulsa Police Department. I'm proud to say the guys involved did a wonderful job getting this evil person off the street and making it so his testicles will never reproduce more shitty human beings. He just said evil off the streets, and I added the rest of the part. But you know what?
They shot That was on purpose.
If we're going to hit him, let's shoot low. Hit him in the balls.
There's
Fuck it.
no way that was an accident.
No way. He ends up, they take him in right away, and he's sentenced to 7.5 years for the burglary and weapons charges on that police detective here. But they like him for this murder also, obviously. He's awaiting trial.
I love the phrase aim low produced a belly shot, a toe shot, and then right in the dick. That is miscommunication. All three of those guys had different IDs.
Fucking all over it. All over. Either that or they were just in a row, pop, shooting up, because it's kind of... So, Jesus Christ, man. Prosecutors think that Denny Phillips plotted the murders, but they don't know if he was in the house nearby or whatever. An inmate of his, who was a roommate of Denny Phillips, locked up after the Tulsa shootout there, after his dick and balls got taken off. He said that Denny Phillips told him about the murders, and he said that Brooke Phillips, quote, just wouldn't die. God. That was the thing here. Jesus Christ.
Way to make the funny stop. The man was shot in the dick.
That's funny. Unsalvageable testicles is funny. Dead pregnant prostitute, not as funny.
Not nearly as funny.
That is funny.
Horribly sad.
So the judge says that, or the prosecutor informs everyone that they will be going for the death penalty against Mr. Tyner here. Yeah. He appears with his public defender there, District Attorney Galen Geiger. Eesh. Are you Gayland? Gayland Geiger? That is a fucked name.
Yeah, it is.
Gayland Geiger?
Is it a male or a female?
Gayland, I assume, is a guy.
You'd hope so.
Gayland Geiger.
I mean, you wouldn't hope so, because a woman named Gayland, it's not
with
as
the
bad.
alliteration, too. Gayland Geiger, you have to make it stand out even more. Jesus, poor guy in school, because he's an older guy.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, Tyner here, through this whole thing, he ends up entering a guilty plea to all 6 counts of first-degree murder. That's not bad. He plead. This is May 2012. This is 4 adults and 2 fetuses. If he went to trial, he would have faced the death penalty. This plea offers no options to appeal, is a part of this deal as well. Now, during sentencing, family members obviously get to come in and talk shit about them. They read statements from the family talking about, Phillips leaving behind a 6-year-old daughter. Quote, her aunt said, quote, losing Brooke has turned our whole world upside down and it will never be the same. Words cannot explain the anguish that we feel. One of the Barrera family members said, the loss of Millie and her unborn child is beyond words. We hope that they said this to, the cousin here said, quote, we hope to Tyner, we hope that every day of your life you relive the tortures of what you did November 9th. Tyner does not address the court and chose to stand with his back to Ermie's mother and cousin as they read their statement.
What an asshole.
What an asshole there. And, the judge, though, he can get him back real easily, and he does. He's going to get him back, but we'll talk about this for 1 second. First, his high school wrestling coach is shocked.
Yeah.
Johnny Cook said, this is just unbelievable. He was as good a kid as you can find, a hardworking, passionate kid who'd give you the shirt off his back. Not anymore. No. He's visited by, before he's sentenced, Tyner's visited in jail by an MMA guy turned prison minister. Who's addressing inmates about shit.
This isn't one of your characters?
No, this is not, actually. I swear to God. He said an official took him to see Tyner, who was surrounded by 6 guards and, quote, looked like Hannibal Lecter without the mask. Ooh. Chains and buckles tethered him to his bed. They said a previous visit had not gone well, and Tyner threatened violence against somebody. So he and Wren talked for hours. Tyner remembered they were supposed to fight once. They were both MMA fighters. He told Wren he wanted to pursue fighting as a career, but instead he made, quote, an awful choice. Now he says he's in isolation 23 hours a day and all that. He says that he had a stack of journals 3 feet high in his cell. Yeah. And Tyner said, quote, dreams and prayers, and just kind of laughed it off. They said he had his Bible there and all that kind of shit. He said that his girlfriend was on drugs and pregnant, and he said that, all that sort of shit, whatever.
That's his life.
That's his life here. So sentencing comes around. Yeah. The judge says, you're back to people. You want to set pregnant women on fire. You, sir, may fuck off.
Yeah.
Life without parole.
Yeah.
That's part of his deal. No appeal, no parole. Ooh. Fucking life.
Tough.
take a hike, asshole.
Bye.
In there forever.
Dennis Hoff didn't come speak.
Dennis Hoff is in this. What do you think? I don't have a Dennis Hoff quote? I think I'm going to, come on.
I was just wondering if he skipped an opportunity.
Get the fuck out of here. He's got shit to say. Oh, no. Apparently, Tyner also gives additional info to the police a couple years later, which he was not willing to do at first. He told the detectives everything. He was in Maryland in a prison there, being held away for gang reasons. Sure. He told police in detail about everything that happened. He told about the two accomplices that went to the house to rob him. So now it's all out in the open. He said he waited for Barrientos. He said Denny Phillips threatened him, saying if he didn't follow through that Denny Phillips would have his family killed. So he had to do this once he was in it. He said that he spoke to Phillips by phone, and then once he was there, he said to make sure there was drugs in the house and then kill everybody and get the fuck out, basically. He said they came out. He killed Barrientos, who had a knife. They killed the women. They started looking for money. He said when Tyner came back into the house, he saw that Hog Shooter and John, who's the Cochran, were holding bloody knives. The detective
name is Johnny Cochran?
John Cochran, yeah. Absolutely. Tyner then said he said he went into the bedroom and found Brooke Phillips lying on the floor. Quote, she was bleeding from her head and neck. He was confronted by Hog Shooter, who told him to get into the car. John and Tyner got into the car, and Hog Shooter poured gas into the house and lit it on fire. They wrote, the detective also said, Tyner said the three of them drove to an area past Shawnee and they buried everything. Now, they get a judge's permission to arrest Russell Lee Hog Shooter and Jonathan Allen Cochran, Johnny Cochran. Unbelievable. They're 37 and 35 at this point, and they're being held. They are also talking about new suspects they might get from Cochran's brother-in-law, who's feeding them a bunch of shit too. He said that John Cochran had told him about the incident several years earlier. So now this guy's telling on him too, his brother-in-law. He said that Cochran told him that he'd been involved in a robbery homicide. Cochran told him there were some Mexicans in a drug house selling cocaine. He said he went there with a guy the Mexicans trusted and would let him inside the house, that somebody let him in the house and they ambushed people inside. Cochran told him there was a pregnant female in the house. She was begging for her life. Cochran said they shot her. Jeez. So there's no doubt what happened in there at all. He also said that Cochran and Hog Shooter were in the Indian Brotherhood gang. So they arrest Russell Lee Hog Shooter and Jonathan Allen Cochran there. When they arrest Hog Shooter, he's in possession of a .22 caliber handgun. There, Hog Shooter's been arrested a shitload of times, a bunch of assault charges and booze-related shit.
General asshole.
He's been general nudnickery. Yeah. He's been to prison twice, 2 years for assaulting a police officer, and then 2 years for attempting to elude police officers. So he doesn't like to be arrested, is what that says. So also second-degree burglary in 2004, that sort of thing. Now, when Brooke Phillips was killed, she was living there and was not at the brothel because she was pregnant.
Right.
There's dudes that are into that, but that's not what you're selling.
Very few.
So, Dennis Hoff said that these new arrests bring back painful memories. He said, quote, I thought all this was put to rest. I hope there's an afterlife so Tyner can burn in hell. And if these guys are involved, I hope they're right there with him. He says, Hoff goes on to say that he and Brooke Phillips dated for some time, but Phillips wanted another child and Hoff did not. So now listen to this. Hoff said he, quote, arranged for Phillips to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Arranged for her to get pregnant.
For how much?
Okay. Yeah. This man's going to mount you. Yeah. And she returned to Oklahoma with her family there until then. Hoff is really upset with Hog Shooter, who he said tortured Phillips about it comes out that apparently she said something about his shirt or something at one point, and that's why he tortured her in particular, because she was a fucking asshole to him, apparently. It was kind of a dick to him, so...
Because she likes fashion.
I don't know what the fuck. Yeah. Hoff said, quote, it's just gut-wrenching. I can't describe the pain. And I'm not a guy that believes in the death sentence only because of all the mistakes I've seen. But in this case, I want to jump over the rail and kill him myself, which is, I think, pretty normal shit there. He says about Brooke, quote, she was a very fun, outgoing girl. Amazing body, which is not something you say about
the fuck?
A dead woman.
Dennis.
Amazing body. What the fuck? That's the second thing he said. Fun, outgoing girl, great personality, real smart, amazing body.
Wow.
So he says, she was a very outgoing, fun girl, amazing body, amazing looks, and just fun as she could be. No drugs, no liquor. She just liked to have a good time and eat Vietnamese food and exercise. That's not exactly true, because she is at that house because she wanted to do coke off a CD case.
Minus the fit and Chinese food. It sounds like Donald Trump describing his daughter.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Great body, knockout.
Amazing body, no drugs, no liquor. She just likes to have a good time. She's just as fun as could be, I'll tell you right now.
What a piece.
What a piece. So... after, by the way, the house was demolished, a new house has been built in its place, so that's all gone here.
Well, I mean, it was burned down.
Yeah, well, they raised the whole fucking, they didn't build on the foundation even. They fucking, salt the earth.
New footprint.
Salt the earth. So, Cochran ends up testifying, there. He says that, he ends up, it's also, Denny Phillips they're going to bring into all this shit too. They're all charged with 6 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of conspiracy. Prosecutors say that Phillips bragged about his power as a war chief in the Indian Brotherhood gang to talk about how he orchestrated this robbery and killing. Wow. They all say that it's at Phillips' direction that they went here to execute this murder mission, as they called it. Cochran told the jury here about details. He said he went to the home. He heard muffled gunshots. He said there was a couple of bodies. He said, quote, "It freaked me out. It was the first time I'd seen somebody get shot." Cochran said. He said, "I found Hog Shooter. It appeared that Hog Shooter was pulling a knife out of some guy's throat," which is a fucking rough thing to walk into. Cochran said he eventually saw a total of 3 bodies when he entered the home. He said Tyner had already shot those people. Now we know that. He said that this is Cochran said he didn't hurt Brooke Phillips. He said, quote, "I've been trying to get it out of my mind for the last 5 years." He said that he saw Hog Shooter, Cochran did, inside the house with an injured blonde-haired woman. That would be Phillips. Cochran said the woman was on her knees and Hog Shooter was holding her by the hair. This is Brooke Phillips. Quote, "She was screaming and bloody. She had blonde hair. She was bleeding real bad. Her eye was hanging out of her head."
Oh, fuck.
This is after he shot her. He said, quote, "She was asking us asking us why we were doing it. She was screaming pretty loud. Hog Shooter told me to shoot her." He said, Cochran said he shot a couple of times, missing on purpose. He said, quote, "I put the safety on and told him I was out of bullets. I didn't want to kill her." So he said that Hog Shooter did it. Then he says, quote, "Russell," that's Hog Shooter, "told me Brooke Phillips was still screaming when he poured gas on her."
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's why I said this might be the worst thing anyone's ever done on our show here.
Shit.
That is fucking horrific. Pouring gasoline on a bloody, injured, shot, stabbed, pregnant woman while she begs for her life. That's about as fucking bad as you could do. Yeah. I think it's as bad as you can be, right? Yeah. Is what's worse than that?
There's no worse.
When people describe, like, I don't think there should be a death penalty except for, they say except for this. Except for if they torture a pregnant woman and do this shit like this. Then we should kill them ourselves. And that's how people think, because this is bad shit.
They should have let Dennis Hoff do it.
These are bad fucking people.
I mean, no, never mind. He called her, he said that one weird.
Amazing body. That's
weird stuff.
That was the thing where I was like, come on, bro.
That weird stuff ruins it.
Yeah, that makes it weird. So, Cochran said that he knew the murders were going to happen, but he, quote, "didn't verbally agree to kill anybody." He said, "I went there under the assumption that somebody else was going to murder someone. I didn't agree to the murders, but I agreed to go down there." Well,
you're guilty.
Guess what? You're in the car on the way to the liquor store, as we say in small town murder. You're in. That's the law, idiot. Defense attorneys pointed out inconsistencies with Cochran's version of events. They argued that significant details have stayed significant, the prosecutor said, and Cochran is sentenced to 25 years in prison.
Really?
He is sentenced to 25 years in prison. Tyner's fucking sitting in prison. While he's in prison, these fucking people, like the gang interventionists and the drug people, they never fucking leave people alone. So he's always has somebody fucking coming into his cell and doing all that shit, that sort of thing. Like, well, fucking the prison guy came, the minister guy who was the MMA fighter came the one day, and then after sentencing, 2 years have gone by, he hears about the Cochran thing, and then the door bursts open, and it's Vince McMahon, chairman of the WWE, and he says,
How is it you've come to arrive? What the hell is wrong with you? Look at you. Look at you. You're in the Marines. You're an American hero. Do you understand that? You are an American hero. You are in the Marines, and you're an Indian. You're a real Indian. Remember Tatanka? I could put a headdress on you. I could have marched you around. You're half hillbilly, half Indian.
Red, white, and blue headdress.
Red, white, and blue headdress with a pair of overalls. You could have been Billy Bob Running Feather. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Jimmy John Gas Kick a Lot. You know, something like that. Jimmy John Whoop Ass, we could have called you. You could have been the greatest thing ever. You fucked it all up. Look at you. You're stuck here now. I'm not going to hire you. I couldn't hire. Well, maybe I could. I could probably get it. But hold on. Give me 2 days and we'll talk about it. Poof. And a poof of injured wrestlers and brain damage. And syringes. 1099s for independent contractors. He's gone. And Tyner's like, shit, almost. That would have been my dream. I could have done that. Fuck. So then they have the Denny Phillips and Russell Hogshooter trial here. So they keep again, this is all, they keep talking about Brooke Phillips. I remember one of a witness that talked to them afterwards said, quote, I remember him describing the way Brooke Phillips wouldn't die. And then the prosecutor said, did you say wouldn't die? And she said yes and started to cry. Quote, she was stabbed and she was screaming. Then she was shot and she was still screaming. And then she was torched. She was set on fire. So they go through all of this here. They talk about everything. They go through it. She said that this woman testifies that she noticed a metal skull belonging to Barrientos was hanging inside Denny Phillips' car. So he's not even hiding shit. He's got souvenirs from the house. He's put in his car. And this woman said, quote, he would flick it and laugh and say that he got what he deserved.
Jesus.
So, yeah, not good. This woman also said the day after Barrientos was identified, Phillips took flowers to his mother. He took flowers to Barrientos' mother. Yeesh. Jesus. This woman said, quote, I thought it was sick that he took flowers to his mother.
Don't worry. He lost his dick.
He lost his dick. But that woman, I mean, she doesn't know. It's her son. Horrible. That's fucking horrible. This goddamn Brooke Phillips and her pregnant kid and her kid. I even feel bad for Dennis Hoff. Yeah. But not nearly as bad as I feel for David Tyner, materials coordinator at Kaiser Permanente in Cleveland, Akron area, hospital care there. David Tyner, master sergeant in the U.S. Army.
Oh, what?
Retired and is now medical administrative assistant at in Frankfurt in Germany over there. Mm-hmm. David Tyner, systems engineer and affording excellent solutions. I don't know, it's a telecommunications shit in Los Angeles. Also, volunteer tutor for homeless children.
Oh,
through Schools on Wheels, Inc.
What a nice man.
He's a nice man. And finally, always if I find this, I put them out there. David Tyner, real estate broker. He's not going to kill all of your pregnant women. He's not. He'll sell you a house and it'll be fine, I'm sure. Give him a chance. He's in Yakima, Washington at Windermere Real Estate. And this poor bastard has suffered enough for this.
Shit.
Yeah. So, Tyner also testified here. Mm-hmm. He said, quote, Denny Phillips purposely stayed away. The prosecutor asked him, Denny Phillips purposely stayed away so you guys could do the dirty work. And Tyner said exactly. He says that they stole $10,000 from the house. Tyner also, says that they're trying to get him out of testifying because they said that wasn't part of his deal, but now they're trying to force him to testify, but he ends up doing it anyway. He says that now he's saying that he didn't even do it, really, Tyner. He just knew about it. He said he only pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty, and he's only testifying to try to get better living conditions and all that sort of shit.
Guess who has no way of turning this over?
Yeah. He says his mother arranged a call with the district attorney, and he testified he wanted to be moved to a prison closer to his family and all that type of shit. So, it doesn't matter here. So February of 2015, Hogshooter pleads guilty to 6 counts of murder, 1 count of conspiracy, and he is sentenced to 25 years. So everybody gets 25 years except for Tyner, who gets life fucking without.
That guy only got 25.
25 years for what the fuck he did. That's
unbelievable.
That is insane.
In Oklahoma?
Well, he ended up pleading.
Yeah.
That's why. So he got 20. But I don't know why they would let him plead.
Why give him
Why
that?
let him plead? They have eyewitnesses saying he set a pregnant woman on fire while she's still alive.
Why
fuck
give him
you.
that opportunity?
Hey, fuck you. We're going to take life without, asshole.
Right.
So you don't like that, then you can enjoy the chair. So I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Wow. Tyner said prosecutors tried to say that they worked out their problems. Denny had nothing to do with this. Business was good and all that sort of shit. They tried to strike down his girlfriend's recollections of seeing shit in the car that Denny said. They said that she had to admit her use of methamphetamine and cocaine would alter her perceptions and make her paranoid. She also said that she had seen a mental health professional at one point. She said, quote, "It was to help me sleep from the nightmares." So yeah, there's that. So hog shooter, Denny, 25 years. That's that. Can't get enough?
Yeah.
Well, you can go visit him in fucking prison because no one else gives a shit. Enjoy. Find him, go say hi, and tell him I said to eat a dick. So I don't care.
Eat the rest of Phillips's dick.
I didn't look for an autograph or nobody cares. Fuck this guy. That's basically the story.
Wow.
That is David Tyner, and one of the most fucked up stories we've ever had on this show.
Sincerely.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
That was absolutely bonkers. I don't even know what the fuck to say about that.
I can't believe it.
That was crazy, and I don't know how we haven't heard more of that story. I don't know how we didn't hear
Seriously.
that story. It's crazy shit. If you like that crazy shit, I know what you can do. Get on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, and give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It really, really, really helps us move up the charts, so we would appreciate it if you do that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your crime and sports and small town murder needs. All of your merchandise, cool shit is up there, especially tickets to live shows. Like we said, St. Louis, Omaha, sold out already. They sold out pretty much immediately. Kansas City, I've probably sold out as we speak, but you might want to check for a couple more tickets. They might be gone. Pittsburgh, same way. San Diego, Columbus, and Cleveland. Those are the ones, man. You guys got to get on those and get them quickly if you want to come to those shows, because otherwise they're not going to be
And
there.
that's August and September. That's coming up fast.
And there's some shows that are in November that are sold pretty tight too. So if you want to go to a show, even if it's 6 months from now, get your tickets now, because people are buying them apparently, and they're just not going to be there.
Right.
So we want everybody to be able to come to shows, and we want to see you guys. So please come out and do that. Otherwise, if you want to be, you're not going to come to a show, but you want to support the show and you want to be a wonderful person and you want to be one of our favorite people, our producers, you can do that very easily. Oh, first, before I get to that, social media. Follow us on social media. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, and we are at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Right. And we put up all the, you'll know about shows and low ticket alerts and shit like that. So that helps a lot if you want to follow us there. And if you want to be one of our producers who, goddamn it, we love so much.
We do.
We love them so much. We would want to murder if somebody set them on fire while they were still alive. Our wonderful producers, you can do that super, super easily by going over to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can just head over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, and you can make a one-time donation, and good God, we'll love you forever, just because you care and you love us so much. So thank you for that. And with that said, without further ado, Jimmy, I need them. I need it like I need, my house to be set on fire. I need to hear the names of the favorite people going right now. Hit me with them.
This week's executive producers are Cheryl Dodge. What did I do?
You just had a meltdown.
Tommy Arsenault, yes. Jordan Bennett, Leah Gordon, Mark Peralta, Avasa Braith, Kimberly Thomas, Dan with no last name, and Leslie Kidd. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Other producers this week are Kay with no last name, David Wittis, Dan Smith, Jacob Cobb, no, Zach Cobb. What? Jacob. What am I doing?
Pull it out of your ass.
I guess I did. Lisa Stevens, Marissa Jack. No, it's Marissa with no last name. No, that's Jack. Yeah, that's right. It's one person. Marissa Jack.
Yeah.
Ocean Angel Sea Glass. I don't know what that is. I imagine it's boat glass. Is it boat glass?
Look it up. It should be.
Look it up.
Who makes boat glass? That's
I don't know.
Weird.
Ronna
like
Abshore, Jaw or J.A. Nomad. That's what it is. It's not Jaw. It's J.A. It's not Jaw Rule. It's Stacy Langto, Jenny the Scientist, Leanne Dice. Yeah, it's got to be Dice, because like Antonio McDice. D-Y-E-S. Yeah. That's what it is. Kendra Wright, Michelle with no last name, Greg Dangerfield, Liza Liza, is it Lisa? Lisa Silver or Liza Silver? One of those. Nicole Johnson, Callie Dixon, Lexi Langley, Angel Eicher, Jana Wellhouse, or Wellhaussey, no. Helen, Abandoned Ship, Helen Watson, Jerry Oliver, Sharin Zaida, Megan Conley, Caitlin O'Connor, Christine DeRuscio. She's Italian, I think.
I like this.
Whatever. Jade Hughes, Crystal Lamb, Evan Schmoll, Barbara Bowers, Amy Jennings, Andrea, and Sam Powell. They are twins. Oh. And Sam said it's her sister's birthday, which would make that your fucking birthday.
I would think so.
That's bizarre.
Unless your mom fucking clamped down real tight for a while.
Not until tomorrow.
Hold on, I'm holding one back.
Bill Blomberg, Mandy with no last name, Paul Such, Christy Quintiliani. Yes, I think that's right. Kristen Quintiliani.
Hey.
Carly Sills, Gemma Flower. Flower. It is Flower. Timothy Contrell, Alicia Hughes, Leanne Petty, Lael Cleland, Craig and Paula, Blathro. I don't know what I wrote. I'm a shitbag. Kelsey Zanzi, Keegan Arndt, Corey J. Weinberg, Nikki Zarnecki. That's what it is. Hunter Engel, Ted Boley, Shannon Leszewski, Eli Wilterdink, L. Derby, Lori Calhoun, Sherry Sullivan, Brian Myers, Michelle Kern, Laurel Fista. What is that? It's Fitanto. That's what it is. That's not an S. Mark Pagliuca. You got all the Italian people coming through, and I can't pronounce shit.
I'm ruining you.
Yeah.
We're ruining him. I love it.
Chris Coleman, Nevin Otley, Buddy Anderson, Chris Ubetta, Lindsay Parker, Courtney Devon, Melanie Tomey, Ashley Mahaffey, Aaron Parker, Tori Naslin, Aaron McSwinney, Zachary Eggert, Dick Moss. That's fantastic. I like that. Richard Palmer. Richard Palmer.
Yeah, there you go.
Dick Palmer. I like that.
Dickie Palms.
Allison Davis, Jennifer with no last name, Laura Yarnell, Kristen Stevensgroff, Emily Costein, Amanda Hose. Not like HOSE, not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lisa Jensen donated twice. Thank you, Lisa. Megan Basler? Yes. Elizabeth Jackman, Mary Jo Adcock, John Wyckoff, Chels Myers, Angela Marvel. What did I do? Megan McSherry.
Awesome.
Tyler Randalls. Shauna with no last name. Emily with no last name. Emily Campbell. Dan Burley. Melissa Schweikert. Dita Vasquez. Elijah Lamb. Tom Hawley. Haley. Happy birthday, Aaron Howerton. He actually, it was his birthday, and he donated to us for his birthday, which was very nice.
Thank you. Shit, appreciate
Libby
it.
Gamble, Drew Shockley, Big Jeffrey, Alyssa Shudell, Matt, Miazga. I think that's an I. I think I don't know what I wrote.
Dropping your book. You're a mess over here.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah,
Jesse Hartman, Gary Howard, Brendan Abels, Chelsea Morgan, Jason Fuller, Anthony Canella. He donated twice. Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
Liz Vasquez. She donated again. Travis De Arment, David Albery. I think that's a Y. I think so. Corey Weinberg. Again, thank you. Ashley Vio, Eric Langenecker, Justin Miller, Nick Gurr. That was tough. Jesus. Nick, you got a fucking brutal name. Kayleen Kirsch. Yes. Tracy Renninger, Thomas Smith, Lee Kuhn, Coons. No, is that a Z? Kuhn. I think it's in E. Marcy Coonsey, Katie Leonick, Callie Shinkunis, Magdalena Leonardis. No, Leonardowitz. That's it.
Hey.
Kristen Walker, Lisa Jensen. That's one donated twice. Abdul Jan, Mith Sadiq, that's Tabitha. Damn it. Sadiq, and then I've got to go to Tabitha. So Tabitha Lilly, Michael Ingram, Janice Hill, Robin Skelly, Mark Foster, James Acelta, Andrea Reynolds, Glenn Bryan Ely. That's a tough one. Stephen Rude, Dennis. No, it's Denise. No, that is Dennis. Dennis Ganziuk, Jamie Kirby, Allison Morris, Reva Miller, CC Clausen, Tyler Gwill, Brittany Whitehill, Haley Ellis. Damn it. Aaron Parker, James Martyr, Kim Grell, Jude Kendall, Brendan Abels, Ryan Shank. God. Bjorn Kjokuvin, Paul Ruest, of course, thanks, man. Teresa Manzo Stratman, Peter Rayner, Candace Kennedy sent some Girl Scout cookies to some people
thank you.
over in the UK. Thanks for doing that. And she didn't ask for any money. She just did it because
so sweet.
They don't get Girl Scout cookies
That's
over
awesome.
there. And thank you to every Patreon supporter. You guys are the fucking best.
Thank you to the most incredible damn people in the world who take it upon themselves to keep this show afloat. There's no requirement. You don't have to. You guys are just good people that say, you know what, I get a lot of content. This brings me joy. I'm going to hit it back. So thank you guys for that. We really, really do appreciate that.
You've gotten me through a divorce, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. So
he has helped with 2 divorces and made.
You've ruined 2 families and made 2 better ones. Isn't that great?
2 happy lives.
Made 2 happier families. Yeah. So with that said, Jimmy, you know what? We heard the list and all that. What if they want to get a hold of you? You've gotten a hold of them now. Now, what if they want to get a hold of you? How can they find you?
You can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And thank you guys. I appreciate all the dog pictures. They're my fucking favorite thing in the world. What do you love? Where can they send you things you love?
Find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or copy and paste my last name from the show description, because you know what? You're not going to spell it right. It doesn't matter. And hey, one thing on social media, if you guys try to say something funny that's kind of a shitty comment to us, if we're not, there's like 5 people that I take that from and don't go, hey, go fuck yourself. Because if Jimmy said that, I laugh. He could say anything he wants. I'd laugh my ass off. It's a bunch of other people. But if we don't know you.
There's not a bunch of people for me.
No, well, there's 4 or 5. That's a bunch as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But like, we're not, leave the jokes to us. We got this, is what we're getting at. Thanks. Just say something nice or say something dickish, but mean it. Don't say something that sounds dickish and then go, I was just fucking around. Because I'm going to say, fuck your mother. Because I'm just not going to give you, I don't know you to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I knew you, I'd give you the benefit of the doubt, but I don't. Maybe you're being shitty. So, that's the thing. So with that said, everybody, thank you. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. It was a fucking doozy.
What the shit, man.
Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
It's important to feel safe at home. Simply Safe knows this. That's why they've developed a security system that keeps working if the power goes out, if the Wi-Fi goes down, or even if a burglar smashes your keypad. They also have some of the fastest response times in the industry, ready to send help 24/7 if there's an emergency. Just go to simplysafe.com/sportscrime to check it out. That's simplysafe.com/sportscrime.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.